meets that thing called life. Hope you're having yourselves a fantastic morning today, as we are happy to be here with you. Hard to believe. I feel like I just said this about January, but this is the last couple days of February, and then we're heading into March. So you really got to enjoy your days, folks, because you don't get them back again. So make sure you take the time with family, friends, teammates, whoever it may be, to celebrate and appreciate the time that we got out there. So I appreciate you being here with us every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time. You're with us on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /WakeUpCallDT, as well as on Facebook.com/LiveNowDT, and our homepage, WakeUpCallDT.com, where the MixLR feed is embedded. So we appreciate you being there. As I said, the Cafe Kubal Studios, Cafe Kubal on 3501 James Street, 324 West Water Street, 401 South Salina Street, all in Syracuse, as well as on the corner of Route 11 and Taft Road at Sweetheart Corners in North Syracuse at their drive-through location, and on 343 Fayette Street in Manlius, New York. A lot of great stuff coming up here inside of those Cafe Kubal Studios. In MonPazPopcorn.com's What's Poppin', we have a special dolphin dive with you here today because Adam Zaczkowski and this Lemoyne men's and women's swimming and diving team won't stop swimming, and I love it. So we're going to talk with them about the ECAC and the Nationals coming up as we continue to have more life for Lemoyne's swimmers and divers. Very, very much appreciate and very proud of this team, and in Adam's first season to see how successful they have been has been a wonderful story to tell. Tammi Reiss will be joining us at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time as Tammi and I have an opportunity to speak on her Rhode Island Rams women's basketball team becoming A10 regular season champions. And then Gina Castelli will rejoin the show of UAlbany's women's basketball staff, as the team that she's proud to be on is the America East regular season champion. And then we'll round out today's show as Shawn Peake at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse for a special Bobcat Buzz makes history with the team's first ever game in all of time. They finally played their first game in their inaugural season, and I'm so excited to have baseball here for good at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. So with that being said, we bring in Adam Zaczkowski here on the broadcast. Adam, how you doing?
Doing well, Dan. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. So, as I said in the intro here, I got to keep having you on the show because y'all won't stop swimming. So what's life been like that you keep on going this season and keep finding more life, just what it's meant to you to know that your swimmers just keep on keeping on?
Keep on keeping on. Yeah. So we ended our conference championships a couple weeks ago at Worcester. We kept everybody. We got people in the pool going, and we just finished ECAC championships in Annapolis, Maryland, at the beautiful Naval Academy this past weekend. And then, we're gonna keep on keeping on, and we're headed off to Indianapolis on Sunday for NCAA Nationals with our sophomore diver Justin Burns.
And you look at Nationals with Justin Burns, just what that means to you that you have one of your student athletes in Nationals, and just what you could say about Justin, his work, and getting to this point, if you saw that this was something that could happen for him, or if this is something that through the season just kind of excelled in a special way to, did you envision him being here at this point, or is this something where he pleasantly surprised you?
I don't think there's anything guaranteed in sport. So, no, you never just pack the bags quite soon. Justin has an interesting story. He was coached by our former head diving coach, Jack Gibbons, when he was in high school at West Genesee. Jack passed away unexpectedly a couple of years ago. Still think about Jack, pretty frequently. But Justin came to Lemoyne. His brother also came to Lemoyne. His brother was a national diver. And Justin kind of was wondering about, what should I do? Should I dive? Should I not dive? And we had, kind of some intensive meetings getting him kind of ready to get back on that board at the beginning of his freshman year last year. He qualified for nationals last year. Certainly was an eye-opening experience for us. Was down in Greensboro, North Carolina, at the that's a beautiful pool. They have ACC just finished their conference championship meet there last couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And so we were down there last year. We did well. There were certainly obviously places for us to get better. So we came back. We regrouped, sat down with our strength and conditioning coach Ben Gall at Moyne, and basically wrote a custom diving practice or custom diving workout, strength and conditioning wise, to kind of really get Justin the strength necessary in his legs to really get off that board, get him to rotate faster. And he qualified for nationals much earlier this year. So in the 21-22 campaign, it was towards the end of the season. It was a little bit of a shock. This year was, we qualified in October. So we've been planning for this for 5-6 months now. And so Justin, my colleague Mihaly Zitsas, who's our head diving coach, and I have been kind of working through everything to get us ready to get to Indianapolis. And so our bags are packed and we're ready to go.
And when you speak on, Justin Burns and like you said, qualifying in October and having all this time, how do you balance it all when you have the regular season for the team? You're going to have the NE10s. You hope for an ECAC or an extension of that. And at the same time, you have, in this case, Justin getting ready for nationals. How do you kind of keep that all balanced and working together fluidly, as you know that there's different pieces that are essentially moving on and moving forward, but you still have to focus on the task at hand that day?
Because swimming and diving are individual sports, we have kind of different training plans, schedules for most of our groups. So we break down our program into a sprint group, a middle distance group, and a distance group. And obviously we also break it down for our divers too. Yeah. And so kind of everybody's at a different point. So we knew people that were going to our swimmers going to ECACs had a little bit of a different training and taper plan than our swimmers just at Northeast 10s. And then with Justin, we didn't bring him down to ECACs. We wanted to give him a weekend on campus with friends. We didn't want him to be, missing 3 out of 5 weekends. So we kept him home this past weekend. So he had some more time on the boards at Moyne and had some, kind of mental relaxation. And kind of we're going to gear up this past week or this next week and get down there again.
And like you said, when you have different student athletes doing different things, this being your first season as the head coach of the team after being on the team and also being an assistant, what have you learned about the orchestration of all of this and trying to keep it all together and making sure that each of your student athletes feels like they have your focus and your time?
I frequently say there's one of me and 40 of you. And so,
yeah.
So we have to, the patience is a key here, right? There's time for everyone. There's a place for everyone. I got to get through, the list. As crazy as it sounds or as simple as it sounds, paper calendars, right? Everyone's so tied to their electronic devices, but we have paper calendars so that people can see, touch, and feel. Yeah. And it allows us to have kind of these constant reminders of, hey, this is coming up, this is happening. And so we utilize, pencil and paper and calendars and the basic planning tools just to make sure that we get everything going. Also in my office, we have a 4-month planning calendar. So we're always 120 days ahead. So we kind of keep our eye, forward thinking. It's not that we overlook things currently, but we know what's coming down the pike. And so we're always ahead to make sure that we don't miss those little things.
Here with Adam Zaczkowski, the head coach of Moyne Dolphins, a men's and women's swimming and diving team, as they come back from the ECAC and Justin Burns gets ready for nationals. Adam, for you, like you said, you have more to go here. You have Indy coming up, but this season for you, the first season at the helm, what have you seen as you reflect upon yourself? I always say that it's that time for all of us to look in the mirror, right? To reflect on things. I do a project or I do a show or I do something new in the community. You go to the mirror, you look in the mirror and you reflect on things. When you do look in the mirror this season, what are you reflecting on?
I think naturally you celebrate the wins and then you contemplate what could we have done better? What could I have done better? And so I try to, everything's a constructive process. So we have our records of what we've done. We know what happened. We have, that institutional knowledge now. And so you just tweak things moving forward. You don't beat yourself up. You don't dwell, because what's in the past is in the past, and what's in the future is what's coming up, and that's what we look forward to. So we make those tweaks and adjustments with our training regimen, with our practice times, with our opponents for next season to keep getting better. So it's never a negative reflection. It's what are the ways that we can control, that we can get ourselves better and get more people to ECACs, more swimmers and divers to nationals? How do we keep getting better every day? And making better swimmers, better divers, and better student athletes, really is what it comes down to.
When you look back on the ECACs, what are your biggest takeaways from being out there, extending the postseason, and having more life in the ECAC? What from this weekend do you feel like was truly special?
The way that we all came together. When you come from kind of Moyne in the Northeast 10, our Division II background, and you find yourself warming up next to Yale and Princeton and Navy, Bucknell, the MAC champion rider, and you go, okay, cool. You recognize that there's a brand on their shirt, but at the end of the day, they're just swimmers like you, and they do the same things, right? They have the same snacks on the pool deck. They have the same warm-up routine. They have the same stretching routine. The way that they prepare for the races is the same. And once you get on that block and you hear that beep, it doesn't matter what's on the cap. It's what's inside you as a swimmer. And so, yeah, there's this branding and there's this little bit of a shock value, but at the end of the day, it's 25 yards one way or 75 feet, and you just got to get to that wall first, and that's what it comes down to.
I love hearing that the way that you describe that. Like you said, on the cap there's a logo, but at the end of the day, underneath the cap, these are all student athletes. These are all people that are looking to obviously do the best that they can at the sport that they love, but you can't get caught up in seeing that logo and thinking, oh my gosh, this is this team, this is that team. Do you feel like your student athletes kind of let that all go and really did lock in and say, you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of people here, incredible, teams and logos and individuals and whatnot, but we're Moyne. We know who we are. We know what we could do. It's not like they changed the pool. It's not like they, did different things in here. So do you feel like your team was able to lock in and say, yeah, we're not going to let this moment be too big for us?
It wasn't too big. It was, who can we take down next? Next? Who can we set our sights on? Who can we beat? It becomes a little bit of a game in a way of, we're just as good. We're just as accomplished. We can do it. Not that I never thought we couldn't, but you got to believe it. You gotta realize that all of a sudden, okay, we can make this happen. When we got there on Thursday afternoon, we walk in and we have Yale in our hotel and Manhattan College and Army, and we go, okay, here we go, right into the belly of the beast here. And all of a sudden you realize, hey, they're staying at the same hotel as us. Hey, they're staying eating at the same places as us. They're waking up at the same time. All of these things are similar, and before you know it, we're here, we're there, we earned our right. Let's go get this, and that's what we did.
And I love the fact that the team had the opportunity to do this in ECACs here with Moyne Dolphins, men's and women's swimming and diving head coach Adam Zaczkowski. Adam, for you personally, what's this journey been like? Because you and I spoke right after you were named as the head coach of this program. We spoke early on as you were getting set. We spoke during the season on what your takeaways were and what you feel like was working and different things you were learning. And we've spoken beyond that here in the postseason. So I've gotten a feel and kind of a pulse of your journey through this season. But how do you look at it when you sit back and see that, this is year one for you as the head coach, what has put a smile on your face, essentially?
The camaraderie you build with the student athletes, the trust, the we do it as a team, even though it's an individual sport. Those are the memories you cherish. You watch those swimmers and those divers go from, not knowing what's going to happen to having this laser focus. So that's what I really take away. That's what I know what we build on, right? It's building confidence and trust so that next year, what are we going to do better? How are we going to do better? When are we going to get back in the pool? Because in 30 days from now, Dan, we got spring training starting. And so, but I used to coach a guy here locally in Syracuse named John Burgos. He was a swimmer out of Nottingham. And he said to me one time, he goes, Coach Adam, I said, what's that? He goes, championships come and go, but the swim season never ends. And you know what? It's true. It never ends, man. We're right back in it. We are about 315 or so days from Northeast 10s again next year, and we're ready to go.
For you, do you love that? I mean, do you love the fact that it's always there? Is it just kind of like at this point ingrained in your skin that this is life? I mean, how do you because you and I were joking off the air that baseball season for MLB, they have December and January kind of, but they've taken up the rest of the year at this point, February to November. I remember my Anaheim Ducks in the NHL hoisted the Stanley Cup, and I felt like a week later they were talking about next season, and I didn't even get a chance to really enjoy. I was like, wait, can we have the Stanley Cup for a couple days before we talk about next season? So for you, I mean, is it in the skin that this is life, this is what I got, and there's really no days off?
The days off are more of, let's go as a team, let's go hiking, let's go and do a ropes course, let's go do something else. So it's not swimming all the time. I don't want to make anybody think it's not that, right? I guess I don't know any other way. This is the way that I was brought up in the swimming culture. This is the way that, a 5-year-old Adam swimming my first swim meet at Yale University, swimming in the summer and swimming in the fall. It's just the culture of the sport. And so, we sit back and we think about ways to make it more interesting and ways to keep it fresh. But with these kinds of endurance sports, it's not just the physical preparation, it's the mental preparation. It's putting that time in so that when you need to get that extra speed or that extra gear, you have that emotional and physical confidence to know you can do it. And it's what we do. It's what our industry does, is what my sport does. And so, the nice thing, or maybe the scary thing, is that the level doesn't matter. You're top of the line Division I folks, your Olympians, all the way down to your, the smallest of small schools. This is what we do as a sport, and this is the expectation, and everybody knows it. And you don't have to teach that. It's ingrained. What we need to do is foster it and keep people excited to keep getting in it every day.
Why do you love it?
Swimming has the highest highs and the lowest lows. When you win or you have that breakthrough performance, there is no other feeling I've ever had in sport. Growing up, I did other sports. I did triathlon, I did baseball and basketball. And knowing that you're the one ultimately that got on that block and stared down everybody else and broke through, there's nothing higher than that. I suspected it's a similar feel in track and running. But the lows are brutal. It turns into, what could I have done? Frequently when you watch swimmers at nationals or when they're interviewed on NBC after the Olympics, they're like, oh, you won the gold medal. And they lots of times they go, yeah, I could have went faster. And so there's this twisted sense of, yeah, that was good, but I know I can do something better. No one's ever said that's the fastest I can go. Everyone said, I'll do this. And so what do you love about it? It's that constant progression to get better. What can I do to make myself better? And it turns into kind of like the way that you live your life, you know?
And the record breaking this season, I mean, I didn't keep an exact tally, but I think there was about 147 records broken. So, but I mean, it was a consistent, like, almost every time I would check your feed, something was happening this season. I mean, how proud are you of the student athletes that, be it their personal best or a school best or whatever it is, that there was just this wave, pun fully intended, of just consistently breaking records and pushing the term, like you said, the highest of highs, the lowest of lows. And when you're in those lows, to say, how do I fix this? How do I get better? How can I personally, attack this next time? And so many times have we seen highs this season, which are really special.
We talk about focusing on the process. In a sport in which you have timing, it's easy to say, I want to go this time, and you focus on, our scoreboard has red numbers. We talk about focusing on the red numbers, and we don't focus on red numbers. We focus on the process. We talk about the daily ins and outs of getting yourself ready before practice, making sure we have proper nutrition and proper sleep, and making sure you get your business done during the day so that you can focus on your school when needed and your swimming. And so once you build that synergy of process and recognizing that long-term your success is inevitable, you may have short-term failures, but you're going to have long-term success because we know that success is there because of the process we use. That's how you build these wins over and over again. And it's about recognizing that those short little victories yield big results at the end. And we've spent a lot of time this year changing that thought of and building that culture of one little step forward here is going to yield massive results at the end.
That coming here from Adam Zaczkowski. Been on the show so much, he's like a preset in the studio now. So we appreciate having him here. Moyne Dolphins men's and women's swimming and diving head coach on a fantastic season, Justin Burns. We send our best to him and all of his loved ones as he gets set for Indy, and Adam will be out there with him supporting him. So a lot of great stuff to come, and obviously to the coach of West Jenny and an untimely passing over the last couple of years, we send our continued condolences and much love and appreciation. That West Genesee community is so deep and near and dear to my heart, as is all of Central and Upstate New York. So prayers to all of you that need it. Many thanks to all of you that have continued to be with us and support these Dolphins as a whole, as well as this swimming and diving team. Adam, as always, I can't thank you enough for the work that you do, for joining me in Dolphin Dive, and for as busy as that paper schedule becomes, for always finding some time to carve out to be here. Means the world to me. So thank you for that.
Yeah, Dan, we appreciate, we in the swimming community don't necessarily get, the opportunity to showcase ourselves. We don't, sometimes don't get that media attention. And so you helping us get our message out and saying that, our sport is something that should be celebrated, something that really goes deep within our team. And so we appreciate this time whenever we can get it, because we know that, we have those other bigger sports that people and folks talk about all the time, and I get it. But having that recognition helps us kind of keep pushing every day. So we thank you and your audience for listening to us and engaging with us. So thank you for that.
Well, as I said last night when I was talking to a good friend of mine, there's not a single person that's higher in my book or in my brain or my heart than anybody else. So every sport deserves the spotlight, and I'm more than happy to do it, and more than thankful to you and your student athletes for being so welcoming and so kind to me. So thank you for that beyond everything else.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that coming from Adam Zaczkowski. Thank you, sir. I'll talk with you soon.
Thanks, Dan. Fins up.
All right, take care. Fins up. That coming from Adam Zaczkowski one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life inside of the Cafe Kubal studios. Happy to be here with you, and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast here as we get set for Tammi Reiss to join us in just a moment here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. So can't thank you enough once again for all that you do Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, just to show up, right? Just to hang out and be with us inside of these wonderful digs. And you know that we have so many different things that have meaning. Everything in the studio has meaning that you see, and some of the things behind me as well, and all of the great Witty Wicks stuff. So we want to thank you all for being here. We want to thank Witty Wicks for their love and support as well. And really genuinely can't thank you enough for being a part of the show where sports truly meets that thing called life. So always great to have you here, and always great to have the opportunity to be hanging out with you and spending some time together. So we thank you for that. We thank you for, all that you do to make it fun for us here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So with that being said, we have Miss Tammi Reiss here with us this morning, and very much appreciate the fact that we have the opportunity to spend some time with her today. And it's always a great and beautiful thing when we get to have Tammi here on the broadcast. So she means so very much to me. She's an awesome coach out here in this fantastic world, and it's definitely a great thing to have
recording
her here. So,
stopped.
There's so many things to be said about Tammi. I'm gonna let her say a bunch of these things herself as she comes onto the broadcast. So we bring in Tammi Reiss here, the University of Rhode Island Rams. You know it as Go Rhody. And they are champions in the regular season of the A10. So give them credit where credit is due. Fought very hard to become regular season champions. And when she took over this program, it was in a different world. So I'm going to give her a ton of the credit. I'm sure she's going to give it to other places as well. But she deserves to be a big part of this, because when we started Reese's Pieces, Miss Tammi Reiss was coming on to a team that was trying to find its way and looking for its next chapter. And now that next chapter has regular season champions of the A10 in it. Miss Reiss, how are you?
Good morning. What's going on, Dan?
I'm doing well. I got to say, listen, I can't believe I have to remind myself that you've been there for a little bit, right? Because I feel like you just got to Rhode, and now we're here. From the moment you stepped in to the Rhode Island Rams women's basketball program to now, what have you seen develop and change for the better?
I think the first thing that changed was the culture. From the people that we recruited, whether it be on staff, our support staff, or our players, we all had one goal in mind, and that's to become a successful program, but more importantly, do it the right way. And culture was everything. And I think that's what changed the most from day one to where we are now. And it's the reason we're the most successful, is we never sacrificed our morality, our value system, or our culture for wins. And, I'm proud to say that, because we have unbelievable human beings involved in every aspect of our program. And that's how winning's done. It's done with great people.
And you and I talked about it last show that, cutting corners isn't the way to do it. And like you had spoken about learning through your career that, winning at any cost is not truly winning. And it's not the right way to do it. And there are people that do that, and you have maybe some success here and there. But ultimately, when you win doing things the right way, carrying the right way, looking for good people, good quality people, and not just talent, is how you build a culture and sustain success. So for you to see the team be regular season champions in the A10, what is it like for you, like you said, to stick to your guns, stick to the morals and values, learn the things you've learned over time? When you see a team win that's built on morality, goodness, values, being together, and not just being raw talent, what does that do for you as a coach?
It's just extremely self-satisfying. You're proud of the work you've done. And it means more to me to have that feeling and really enjoy it than to just win a championship and you cut corners, you did it on talent alone, you sacrificed your morality and you did some things to win. It's not the same feeling. It's not. And that's why I have a lot of pride in this championship on how we did it. and we did it the right way. That as a coach is the most self-satisfying thing, that we had a vision for the program. We saw it through, and in the end, it paid off. And to watch that develop to fruition is the most satisfying thing. That's why when people ask me, what are you experiencing right now? I just said, I'm completely satisfied. From start to finish, from A to Z. Every piece of this puzzle and how we did it. And that's what just really warms my heart is the way we did it.
And I love the video that when this was secured and there were zeros on the clock against Dayton, you ran off to the sideline and gave one very specific hug there. Bring me into that moment, who you ran off with and gave that hug to.
Right after the game, I do it after every game because my first supporters, my biggest supporters, the people who sacrificed their whole life so I could, be successful in school and sports are my parents. And so, when you have overall emotion and you reach a goal, you run right to the people that enabled you to do what you do. And besides my team and my staff, my parents, my significant other, Crystal, those are the people that if I didn't have them in my corner, I could not do what I do. Listen, Crystal holds it down at home. I could never become a coach and put the hours in and without someone taking care of holding it down, the household, the animals, everything. And then obviously my parents, who sacrificed everything to give me the game of basketball and whatever I needed to be successful. And so you run right back to your support system to thank them, because they're the reason you're on this journey and they're part of the success. And so I ran right to my dad, Crystal, and my mom. And those were the first people I could show my gratitude and my love for.
I mentioned that on purpose because it's a reminder, I think, to anybody that was watching of never forgetting where you come from, never forgetting who was there for you from day zero. And you've been that person. I was actually having a conversation last night about you, so if your ears were ringing, they were good, Tammi. But I was having a conversation about, I said, Tammi and I have talked for so many years, and when she first got to Rhode Island, and you're building this team and your schedule is more open. I said, Tammi and I we talked about it last show. You said, hey, Dan, we did our stuff and we did all that. And you said, now I got 10 things going on. And they're like, you're going here, here, and here today to do these interviews. But you've always connected with me, texted me back, gave me a call, got on the show. So I get emotional in the sense of you've never forgotten me. The better you've gotten, the more you've gotten, and the more you've done. So when you win, as I was saying last night to a good friend, there's coaches that win and you're happy for them. And there's coaches that win that you have more of a connection to, that you just feel their heart and you feel who they are and they've never forgotten you and they've always gave you time no matter how busy they've gotten. So when you win, Tammi, I get worked up. I just want you to know that. So.
I appreciate that. And again, you roll with people that are there with you from day one, where they believe in you no matter what. It's not because you're winning. It's not because you're successful that now they come around. They were part of the journey and the process. And that's been you, Dan, from day one. I mean, we've just, you've always supported me. Women's basketball in general, which I absolutely love about you, all sports. And so that's really, really important. Like you said, you never forget where you come from and who helped you get there. The only person that wasn't present, I think, when we won the championship, listen, I wouldn't even have started probably playing this game if it wasn't for Mr. T, who, was my teacher, taught me how to get it done in the classroom, and became my trainer, became my mentor in basketball. And, it was a little bit that it's the only face I didn't see on the sideline, which, for one reason or another, he could not be there. And so I got to send him a shout out and much love and much gratitude. I just wish he was there to experience it with us.
Yeah, and it's great that you mentioned Mr. T. I have as soon as you said that, I have one that I call. His name is Mr. DeSantis, and we called him Mr. D, and he was my principal growing up. But I call him Feeny D because I'm a Boy Meets World fan, and I always feel like he's my Feeny, and he always gives me that advice. So as soon as you said Mr. T, I'm like, oh, Feeny. So I totally get it. I want to go. Go ahead, sir.
Go ahead. I think everyone, we have those special people in our lives that touch us in a way that, again, you remember them always because they're the one that guide you and get you to where you need to be and shape and mold you. And we all have those coaches, those teachers, those mentors that mean so much to us. And it's really, people don't know how much you touch people's lives and direct them. And, that's why it's really important to pay it forward and I do the same. I try to be the Mr. T to the next generation. It's why I coach.
Tammi Reiss here with us, University of Rhode Island Rams women's basketball head coach and keeper of the A-10 regular season championship. Tammi, when you walked in, I know the type of competitor you are. I feel that. I think you enjoy more than most coming into a situation where people are like, oh, you're not going to get top 5. You're not going to be top 2, top 3. And here's Tammi going, we're going to win a championship. To be able to put that shirt on, that hat, and you were having some fun with pieces of that net as well. When you're A-10 regular season champions, I know there's more life. I know there's more work to be done. I understand that from the coaching perspective. But there's probably so many people that never thought Rhode Island would come close to it, and here you are as regular season champions. How vindicating and beautiful of a moment on the court was that and continues to be?
Well, I'm a builder. I love taking things, I'm a Rocky and a Rudy. I wasn't this amazing athlete, superstar. And, I had to work my whole life to get what I wanted. It wasn't just given to me. And so I love the process of building something and going from A to Z. And this job for me was a no-brainer. It's like, it's a dog. We get to shape it and mold it. And it didn't really bother me that people say, why are you taking that job? Like it's never been successful ever. You're not gonna be why don't you just wait and get your BCS job or get a better job? And I said, I'm thinking differently. I think it's a sleeping giant, and I think I can build it. And in fact, I know I can build it with the right plan, with the right people. And so when the buzzer went off and we actually put those shirts on again, all I could think about was my first day on the job. It's like it flashed all in front of my face, like how bad we were initially, the culture, everything. And then, to get to that moment, to put that shirt on, it was no better feeling in the world because it wasn't given to us. I didn't inherit a great program that vied for championships, myself and my staff. We built it. And when you build something from your bare hands, you do it, you have so much more pride in it. So you've earned it. And so for me, it didn't bother me, the naysayers, it didn't, because I knew what we could do. And it's one of the best moments in your life when you work for something, really work for it. That's when you have the feeling is no better feeling. That's why the hard is what makes it great. You savor it so much more than, I have the best players. All I got to do is throw them on the court. We're just going to beat you anyway. This had to be built. That's why it makes it so special.
And why, I know we've talked about this a little bit, but why Rhode Island? What was it? I know you've spoken to me about the leadership there and the deep meetings that you had. But like you said, this program hadn't been successful. You weren't inheriting a champion. So what about this was a sleeping giant, like you said? What about this bare bones did you think you could walk in here and start building it. Because I agree with you and I love it, and I live every day building something out of thin air. Why was Rhode Island the place to do it?
You got to know who you are as a person first, what you want in your life, and, what fits you the best. So you really have to know you. I can't coach in the Midwest. I can't. I know my quality of life. I know my happiness. I can't coach down south. I can't. I'm a New York person who acts like a New Yorker. I know my characteristics. I know what I want. I know how I do it. And I know what I'm compatible with. And so when I'm looking at different areas and different schools, my quality of life and me played a huge part into what was going to be a good job. Yeah. Rhode Island, East Coast. Rhode Island, close to my recruiting grounds, close to my stomping grounds, Jersey, New York, Pennsylvania, DC. I fit the East Coast. I love the New England area. My parents are 3 hours away. And then when I met with administration, when I met with Thorbjorn, and people just take jobs, they don't understand the importance of relationships. Yeah. They don't understand compatibility, vision, and your support system. So you're only as good as your AD and your administration. And how many resources are they going to pump into you? What kind of support? That man could finish my sentences, and I just met him. I've had more interaction with Thor during the process than I did with most ADs. And I know I was only an assistant coach, but I watch how they work. I've watched a lot of ADs, good, bad, and indifferent. And Thor, God rest his soul in peace today, Coach Terry Holland, one of the best ADs as a player I've ever seen at Virginia. Thor reminded me of Coach Holland, of his generosity, his kindness, his compassion, his empathy, and his belief in sports, his love for sports, mentorship. And so we vibed. And when I call vibe, we vibed. And I knew that was a genuine relationship. Now, 4 years later, we text, we talk, it's like we're friends. It's not like he's my boss. It's different. And so when I saw that and then visited here, all I needed to see was the resources. I know I can fundraise. You don't have to worry about that. I'll get money. And that went into my decision. Again, the people. It was like a family down here. Where I could walk into anyone's office door. It didn't matter. They could come in mine. And it fit me like a glove. Me. It wasn't about the job, the status, the money, it was about the right fit where I thought I could be successful. I did the same thing as a player. I chose the school that fit me the best. And that's why it was Rhode Island and no other school. And not that, believe you me, not like I had a million offers, but there were a couple schools that, along the area that I was looking at and I was interested in, but Thor sealed the deal. The people at Rhode Island sealed the deal. So, and then knowing me, I had to match myself to where I think I could be the most successful and accepted, number one, as a human being. My lifestyle, my characteristics. And again, I'm older, so I know me. I base my decision-making now on what makes me happy, not money, not status. And there's nothing for me to have to prove other than all I want to do is be happy.
Yeah. Tammi Reiss, University of Rhode Island Rams women's basketball head coach, A10 regular season champions, and more life to come. Every time I talk to you, I'm inspired. And when we talk about music and movies, I realize that as much as I know, I don't know as much as you. So
I don't know about that.
But I will say this, Tammi, you are my spirit animal for when it comes to music and movies and understanding things. So I hope that there's other people in this world like us, because I love that connection, that I feel like I'm having conversations about I was doing it last night. I was having a conversation about music, and I get to a certain point with people, and then I hit a wall, and I'm like, why has nobody heard this? You know what I mean? Yet you and I talk about it all the time. So, Tammi, that's what I'm saying is there has to be more of us than not, but it's hard to find people that just like good. You and I will talk about this music, and I get it, and I feel it, and I'm living in that world. And then I talk to somebody else, and I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3 of them the same, and then after that, I'm just completely lost. And so leading into that, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So I was gonna say 2 parts. Number 1, is there anybody out there like us that you know when it comes to actually knowing good music? And the B part of that is, what song was played in the locker room when y'all became champions?
Well, first, it's funny. I connect on social media a lot with people, fans that, they all hit me up and they're like, will you please do your motivational morning videos with good music? And it pumps me up the day, and we love it. Which I will continue once the season's done. I don't want to get, people go, you're not focused. Listen, we're coaches. We only live a small amount of time coaching. We do have other hobbies, and we like to have fun and do those things. You don't have to be a stoic coach to be a good coach. But I'll get to the videos and the music again, but I've connected with so many music junkies, movie junkies that are just, follow us on social media. And there's one, his name's Rob. He's from Rhode Island. And dude loves, like, every night he's out at the bonfire. He'll be hitting up whatever mood he's in. He'll send me screenshots. You remember this one? And I'm like, oh God, Rob, I love it. We'll go back and forth. But there are people out there that, get inspired by music and by movies. And I'm a very emotional person. So the music, it gets me, for whatever reason, when I need to be sad, I play a little. When I need to be pumped up, and so I get inspired by music and movies. I really do. When I need to watch a good movie before a game, the night before, and I need my Rocky 2, the end of Rocky 2, or I need a little Rudy, or I need some Hoosiers, or I need Remember the Titans. Again, it's inspiring for me, and that's what I take from music and movies. And all I know is we start every game with Whitney Houston's national anthem. Yep. And I mean every game. They are facilities people have to, ask me, listen, it's Veterans Day. We need to, yes, we will change the national anthem. But other than that, as long as I'm a coach here, we'll start it with Whitney Houston, period. And that's my good luck charm. And that's the national anthem. It's my go-to. The music that was playing, we didn't play music in the locker room. We did our song, but on the court, they played a medley of different songs. But the one I remember, taking our championship pictures, they played Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Someone. And that's the only song that when it came on, I remember. But it was mostly, again, we celebrated in the locker room with a speech, and then we got out of there. But no, definitely there are people out there like us, Dan, that pop culture people that, again, get inspired through different things. You and I, for me, it's music and movies, and that's what gets me going.
Yeah. People ask me, they're like, what's your thing that you do at night before you, like, what kind of resets you? I said, it doesn't matter when I get in bed. It could be midnight, 1 o'clock, 2 a.m., 10 p.m., whatever it is. I have to watch something funny, and I'm normally putting on stand-up or a sitcom that I like, because I have to have that little bit of comedy right before I go to bed. And it's like clockwork. And you'll meet people like, I don't have a TV in my bedroom. I was like, I got a big TV in my bedroom.
So do I. No, but it's funny you say that, because last night I do the same thing, but I go to the memes on Instagram and I'll hit off every funny, and they just go. I'll be sending them to people like, yo, and just to make them laugh. But I'm the same way. I end every night watching some kid. Last night it was about kids. Oh my God, had me cracking up. I don't know if you've seen the snowman one.
No,
with the little kid building the snowman. No. You got to see that one. And the goat outside. You got to see the goat with the little kid at the window. I mean, those are just things I like to end my night on a good laugh. So I am just like you. And last night was no different. I did about 30 minutes of funny memes before I went to bed.
And that's the thing. And in kind of a couple closing notes, that, like you just said, a coach, you spend, people think, coach, you got to be stoic, and every time they see you, you got to be doing something. And I felt the same way as a business owner. I was like, if I take a break in the middle of the day for myself and I go see a movie, what if somebody sees me there? Oh, you're not editing, you're not doing. You have to have pieces of. We talk about Reese's Pieces. There's all these parts of you that make you who you are, and you're coaching, yes, and you're practicing and you're looking at film, but you have to remain who you are, or else you're not going to be successful in anything you do, including coaching. So I love that you brought up the fact of kind of saying, like, hey, everybody, if you see me out there just kind of dancing in my car, it doesn't make me a bad coach. It makes me Tammi Reiss. And if I'm not dancing in my car, I'm not going to be able to go to practice the same way. So I appreciate that you said that.
Yeah, the best advice I was ever given is just be you. Just be your authentic self, and you don't try to fit into a mold. Don't try to be somebody you're not. And that's always worked for me. And I've always been the happiest being able to be who I am. And so that was the best advice I was ever given, was just be your authentic self. Whether people like you or not, at least you can live with yourself and be happy with who you are. And so that was the best advice I was ever given.
We got a message that came in here from Greg. Tammi, and I agree with his first statement here. He says, Tammi, you are not old, because every time you say that you're older, Tammi, I haven't seen you age in a very long time. But it said, Tammi, you are not old, but I do vividly remember reading about you breaking Section 9 basketball records on the back pages of the Times Herald record. Best of luck moving forward in the A10 and NCAAs.
It seems like ages ago. This is a cool story. So we're playing for the A10 championship, and my three besties from high school, I have a lot of besties. We have a whole group, but the three that played on our championship undefeated state title team, let me give them a shout out. Maura Brady, Beth Lindholm, and Tammy Ebers, maiden names, not married names. Yeah. They were in attendance at the game. And before the game, I looked up and I saw all three sitting together, and it just brought back unbelievable memories of the day we won our championship together. And it was so cool that they could be there, watch it happen again with me. And then I went to hang out with them afterwards, broke out all the pictures of when we won ours, all the high school. And it was like 35. It was so many years ago. I did feel old at that time, but it's just, you remember the best days of your life so vividly with your best people, your best friends. Yeah. And it was like no time passed. It was like I was back in high school hanging out with them. And, I've had so many great memories, but the best ones you never forget with the best people that you shared them with. And I've had a lot of them, but that was a really cool moment for me during the game, was to see my three bestie teammates up there sitting there, and then be able to just reminisce with them and go back. It's incredible. And again, people make your experiences, not the experiences. And so I've had a lot of great people in my life.
Tammi Reiss here, regular season champion, Rhode Island Rams. I'm going to keep saying it because I like saying it. A10, loving it. And we have coming up here very soon, as a final note here, Tammi, we know that your team will be facing off in the Atlantic 10 tournament coming up here March 1st to the 5th, Chase Fieldhouse in Wilmington, Delaware, not too far away. Your thoughts on moving forward, what this team has shown you up to this point? What have been the most pleasant surprises and the biggest improvements as you get set for the postseason?
Well, this whole season has really been a huge surprise because we had a lot of unknowns coming into the season. We lost 70% of our scoring and 70% of our rebounding. 4 starters. We returned 1 starter, and our bench did not play heavy minutes. We had 3 people come off the bench that averaged like 1.9, 1.1, and 1.3 points per game. And so we went out and grabbed a lot of pieces. Yeah. We had to develop our players. And so coming into the season, we had no idea. So many unknowns. Who's going to be in what role? Now we we had the pieces. How would they embrace those roles? Could they be successful in those roles without experience? And when would we develop great chemistry as a team? How long was it going to take? And so probably by mid non-conference. Now, when we first came back, 2 players, I was like, my God, Maya Toure and Sophie Phillips. I'm like, they're like different players. Like they got no time last year and they came on the scene this year. And I was like, all right, now I know we got a center. I know we got some guards and we got a lot of 3-point shooting. Then halfway through non-conference, they were such good kids, young women. They loved each other. They played for each other. No selfishness. I'm playing 10, 11 kids now a game. None of my starters average more than like 26, 28 minutes. They don't play 40 minutes. They don't pad stats. Whoever's playing well is in the game, and so it's highly competitive environment. If you're not having a great game and you're not doing what we're asking you to do, I have to sit you because I got 6 more kids on the bench that they want their turn. And so had no idea that they would become as dominant as they were in their roles and how quickly and great this team became a we. And it's why we won. We are sharing regular season champions with UMass is because they are so unselfish and they love each other and they play for each other. There is no me. There is no complaining. It is genuine support my sister. And we want to win. And that's all that matters. And that's why we're successful. And they answered those unknowns for us, for our coaching staff relatively quickly. And it was a complete surprise because, again, we lost a lot. I don't know if people realize, like, we lost most of our team and all our top players, all our conference players were gone. They became pros. And so even though we still were picked 3rd, which I thought was ludicrous, I'm like, I think we should be around 5th. That's what I placed us because of how much we lost. And, the kids, they really did. They came through and it really is all on them. They were amazing teammates to each other.
Reese's Pieces back again. Tammi Reiss and myself, Dan Tortora. I want to thank you, Tammi, for, like I said at the beginning of our conversation, no matter what's happened and how, and I'm not surprised at all, but your upward trajectory of your career, the busier you get, you always find time, you always answer the call, and you've always been good to me. So, again, there are coaches and there's Tammi Reiss, and you are in a special place in my heart that goes well beyond just watching a basketball game. I am proud of you. I'm happy for you. I love your humbleness. I love your connection to your family. I love those first 3 hugs that you gave and the shout out to Mr. T. And, the similarities that we have and the things that count remind me in the crazy world that we live in today that you should simply just be you. So thank you for being yourself, for going out there and kicking butt, and for making me a Rhode fan, because that's your fault, okay?
I know I got to get a little orange out of you, get a little Keeney blue in there, a little bit.
Yeah.
Even though I still support the orange, got love for them. I would still watch all the men and women's games. You'd be shocked at how much basketball I got, like 4 screens going at the same time. And every stop I go at, you leave a little piece of love at every place you go. And I still have love for UVA. I support them. I still have love for Syracuse. I support them, San Diego State. And it helps mold you into the person you are, and all the people that touch your lives and along your journey. And I've just been blessed with really great places and really great people. And Dan, you're one of them. So thank you for always having me, always supporting me. And, go Rhode.
The Rams getting set coming up here in just a few days. Postseason play for the 8-10 regular season champions. Tammi, as always, I appreciate you. The timeless Tammi Reiss here with us. God bless, and we'll talk soon.
All right. Hey, go out and buy the new Pink album.
I love it. Take care. Be good.
All right, Dan.
See ya. Coming from Tammi Reiss here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And we always appreciate having Tammi here on the show and have so much love for Miss Reiss. So with that being said, we're going to take a step aside here for a fast break. Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. And I can't thank you enough for being here with us today. And it's moments like this where it's like, I kind of like, it gets you. It gets you, you start off the show, and I think I wanted to make myself cry today. I think that was the plan. But the people that I get to talk to and learn from, they remind you of who you are, they challenge you, they make you better. And, Adam Zaczkowski, he says at the end of the broadcast this morning, thank you for covering our team, because we, swimmers and divers, we don't expect the love. We expect other sports to get it, and we don't really get to tell our story. And I think that's crazy and it's wrong. And that's why I want to tell their story, because everybody deserves to have their story told. And then here we are with Tammi Reiss, and, she's a queen, right? And she has always been good to me. So, you try really hard in life to establish what you want and what you need and what you desire, and you go after it, and it's not easy. And anybody that is the scariest thing in life to do is to love anything. It's the scariest thing, is to love anything. It's literally the most difficult, toughest, scariest thing to do. And that's loving somebody romantically, that's loving your friends, your family, somebody like family, like a friend becoming like a brother or a sister. It's loving your career. It's having a passion. It's having dreams. Love is the most scary thing that you can ever do in your life. And I love this. I love being me. And I wouldn't even say like I love being a sportscaster. I love being Dan Tortora. And I happen to be a sportscaster. It's part of what I do. And I love this. I love it. I don't have words for the stories that we get to tell. It just... and behind the scenes, you go through so much. I go through stuff, you go through stuff, and you have people that question who you are and that disrespect you and put dirt on your name. And sometimes you get caught up in that. And then you pray, you go to church, you go to temple, whatever. And you go to a synagogue, you talk to God, you talk to your friends, you talk to the people that know you. And you get reset and you get balanced and you figure it out. And like Tammi said, it's not the experiences, it's the people. And people like Tammi always like command that out of me, right? And you got to surround yourself with people that just like pull all that soot out of you and remind you who you are. Because life isn't easy. And when you love something and you give everything you got to it every single day, if you know me, you know I'm only a builder. I'm only a builder. I'm never a destroyer. Tammi talked about building, and I love to build. And so to me, I'm always looking to help. I'm always looking to build. I'm always looking to get better. And the world isn't always kind to those people, but there's kind people within that world. And you have to just seek those people out and love them up and appreciate them. And like I said, when coaches win, there's coaches that win, and there's coaches that you love. There's coaches that you are friends with, and you would just friggin' go to battle for if they were a janitor somewhere. You would be their biggest fan still. And coming up next, I got another one, Gina Castelli. So I've tried to not be emotional today. It's probably not going to work. Gina Castelli's coming up here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. We'll take a step aside. We'll be back with Gina after this.
Carvel DeWitt, it's what happy tastes like. Do you know why? Because we make ice cream. Creamy, rich, flavorful ice cream. Not yogurt or iced milk like some of our competitors. Ice cream. Fresh, by hand, daily. For the calorie conscious, we have something new for you. Our new Carvelite. Same great flavor, creaminess, and texture of our regular ice cream with only 35 calories an ounce. So whether you want an ice cream cake, flying saucer, dasher, carvalanche, hard or soft ice cream, we will satisfy your craving with our fresh, handmade regular or new Carvelite ice cream. Carvel DeWitt. It's what happy tastes like.
Cafe Cabal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafecabal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Cafe Cabal needs. Cafe Cabal, coffee for the soul.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant. Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal Studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern time, and I am ecstatic to continue the conversations. Four coaches here that have been head coaches. Gina's title is very difficult for me to get out here. I'm going to try to do it. And I think it's the preamble of the Constitution. But let me see here. So it is Gina Castelli's title is the University at Albany Women's Basketball Executive Coach for Program Development and Player Relations. Now, for those of you that don't know what that means, it means the University at Albany hired one of the greatest people to help to be a part of molding young minds because she's just that awesome. So, the reality of Gina Castelli is you could put any title on it. What it is she's a leader, she's a caring person, she's a mentor, and she's somebody that loves to pay it forward. So you can put any title on that, head coach, executive coach, whatever you want to put there. And what it really means is if you have Gina Castelli on your staff, you guys are probably doing all right. And they are. They're America East 2022-23 regular season champions. And I get to bring in my good friend Gina Castelli from the University at Albany this morning. Miss Gina, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on again, Dan.
Of course. So executive coach, program development, and player relations, you've been in it for a little while here. How would you describe, because I know last time you were on the show, you said, yeah, it sounds like a great title, and I was carrying the water bottles a couple days ago. So have they within the past week or so gotten somebody else to carry the water bottles for you, Gina?
Well, it's all about you got to do what you got to do, so whatever I need to do. This week I was running the 30-second shot clock. So, it's been an amazing experience this year. I think I mentioned that to you. Yeah. We've had so much adversity this year, and to be regular season champs, a goal of the team. We had so many players back, but quite a few of them were injured early, and we've just had so many things going on that it looked pretty bleak at one point, but for this group of kids to just step up and just stay focused and, in a sense, we did accomplish one. We accomplished one of our goals. This is, they got a lot of goals, and this is one of them. Obviously, wanting to be American East champs is the ultimate. So it's just been a great ride. It really has.
And Gina Castelli here with us on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, a part of this University at Albany Great Danes women's basketball coaching staff. And like you said, going through so much adversity. For those who don't know, share what the season's been like at Albany and the adversity that this team has been through, because to be crowned champions is a beautiful thing, but the road to get there, as you said, was not as easy as some would think.
No, not at all. I mean, well, first of all, which is a really great thing, the university is redoing the Step View Arena, which is the arena that we play all of our home games and practice in. But additionally, they're also renovating the other gym, the physical education building. So we did not have a practice facility going into the season. We had to start, practicing at different sites in the area, and that wears on any kid, any student, getting in a van and traveling to another site. I mean, currently I'm driving to the Washington Armory for our practice. And little by little, they put in a portable court in the old pool area. Little by little, they put in laid on cement. So it was a little bit hard, and we think it's caused some stress fractures and some injuries to our players. So we've decided to now, get off that court and traveling again to these practice sites. So this is how the year's been with most of our players. Additionally, we've had a number of our starters out for the beginning of the year. So we started our season with 4 of our top players out for about 10 of most of all of the non-conference season. So, and we've had a tough schedule, knowing that we had all these kids back. Colleen, thought we should upgrade our scheduling, not knowing we were going to have these issues, going forward. So we played Ohio State, Boston College, Syracuse. We were in the UNLV tournament, which is a 4-game tournament, I believe, that was back. We had a limited roster. That was really tough on the players. So it's just been one thing after another, and for our players to just remain focused on the goal, and we just started in January. When we started our conference play was when we had the majority of our players back, and I still think we haven't peaked, because most teams peak, early mid-February. We really just started with our complete team in January, so I'm hoping that the best is yet to come for this group, which deserves it. It's been amazing. It's been just an amazing ride to be a part of it and to experience how resilient everybody has been through it.
That coming here from Gina Castelli, speaking on the Albany Great Danes women's basketball team, champions here in the regular season of the America East, and going through that adversity to get to where they are today. Having to travel, like you said, this morning to different practice sites, and then what you had before, going through the issues of that and some stress fractures, and just not feeling like it was a good situation to be in, to have to navigate around all this, knowing that the future of Albany is being taken care of, right? When there's renovations being done, there's going to be good down the road, but you have to go through the growing pains of getting down the road to see this team navigate the way that they have, and have to go to different practice sites. And, you as part of the, staff, the staff is running around, the players are running around. It's not the easiest thing to have to go through renovations, but you're doing it for the long haul. How have you seen the student athletes respond to this? And what can you say about maybe the grit that it's given them, or maybe another chip on their shoulder that they've had to really want the sport of basketball on top of wanting the sport of basketball when they know that it's not as easy just to get to practice?
Yeah, well, it starts with your leadership, and I think Colleen Mullen, for anybody that knows her, knows. I mean, she's all of maybe 5'2", but she's tough, and she doesn't allow, her players to succumb to excuses. This is what we have, this is what we have to do, and we're going to still reach the goal and the destination this way, But so I do think that was really important, how she needed the beginning, how we were going to navigate through that, started with her communication to the team. And I also feel that because we have so much experience, we have a real good veteran group of players. Our captain leadership is phenomenal. These women are very mature. We have quite a few international kids, and majority of the time when you get international players, they're a year or two older than most kids coming in. So, I mean, Helly Hagerstan is 24, so these players are a little bit more seasoned and understand the long haul of a season. And so, I think because they were able to maintain good focus and calmness and not make excuses throughout, I think that's really, really been a big part of it. And when you see your leadership, your best players, not making excuses and giving everything they have, it's really easy for, it to trickle down to our, underclassmen. And that's basically what's happened, and, there's so much to be said for culture and for good leadership, because if we didn't have that, it would have been a disaster. It really would have.
And I want to spend an extra moment or two here on Colleen Mullen, your head coach of this staff here at UAlbany for the Great Danes women's basketball team. Like you said, that leadership, that focus, the things that she wouldn't allow here, to see the season go through the extra, see the student athletes go through the extra adversity of having to practice in different places and not have their typical arena and this, that, and the third, for them to navigate through all of this. How have you seen her leadership in a regular season, and how have you seen her leadership in this type of season where there was more adversity that was out of her control? How would you describe Colleen as a leader, and how even this year maybe showed more of that leadership?
Well, you have to be very patient, and a coach, there's very few coaches that are real patient. So, I think that was trying for her. And, she had to take a lot of deep breaths, literally, figuratively. She really did. And I think she's a young coach that has a really good staff around her that has helped her, stay calm. I mean, she's got 3 kids. She's married. She's got a full life going. And, there's a lot going on in her life that, without a good staff, too, I think it would have made it difficult. But you also have to be a good manager of people, and she's a very good manager of people. She knows how to delegate and trust the people she has working for her and go with it. And I think that there's a level of that in itself is a great lesson for all coaches. Is people you hire, make sure you hire good people around you, because these things do happen, and you need to be able to trust them and the decisions that they're making and helping you make, and go with it. And I think that's really probably been the biggest thing she's done, is just kind of let go and allow us as a staff to give her good information, to feed her some good information, and she's listened and done some of these things. Of course, she's ultimately the decision maker, but it's not always easy when you're managing a team. To do that, you want to have all control, and I think she has shown some great growth there. She's done a great job. I mean, after the game against NJIT, she would tell you that this has probably been one of the hardest seasons she's had to coach and go through because of navigating through all of this stuff. But so far so good. I mean, obviously we still have the playoffs left, postseason, but through and through to win 20 games with a season like this is a great accomplishment.
Yeah, it's been incredible. And you, like you said, you were going to step away from coaching but connect with coaching in your own way. Are you getting like your fix? I mean, you love the world of basketball. You love to help people. You love to have, the opportunity to mold young minds and do special things. So when you stepped away from coaching after almost a decade at Moyne, but then came in as an executive coach at Albany, being a part of this journey with Colleen and the staff, do you feel like you're getting, you're what you need as a coach? Because I know you laugh every time I say it, Gina, but you say you're going to go away, you never go away. So and I love that. So has this been in its way a way to kind of stay in it without having to physically be? What'd you say?
I'm like a bad penny. You can't get rid of me.
No, you're like Michael Jordan. You're just never going to retire, kind of thing.
Yeah. Honestly, I think again, when you're around good people and they acknowledge, you, they pat you on the back. When you get that stuff, and which I have here at UAlbany, you feel like you're doing what you need to be doing. As much as I've been coaching a long time, and I know the influence or the impact I may have here. But when you're getting it too, you're getting feedback from them. It's really it's more important than anything. It's just like a player, and they're getting positive feedback. That goes a long way. And for me, I think that's really important for me. Whether they're saying it verbally or using some of the things I suggest, I think that's really helpful. And for me, to know that I'm doing a good job. And when I can see it and feel it, I feel like I'm getting a good fix, as you say. I don't know where it's going to go, in the next few years, but this has been a pretty cool. It really has been a pretty cool job for me, to be able to do all the things I love in coaching. I don't have to stress so much about, the marketing, all that. Do I miss some things? Yes, of course, but I'm getting a lot out of this, and I don't feel that I'm deprived of anything really.
No, and wherever you go, winning happens, right? So it's been. I want to get a T-shirt made that says Team Gina, and on the back it says wherever she goes, because you make history at Moyne. Was it 23 years, and the team got an NE10 championship in the tournament. Here you are with UAlbany regular season champions. I mean, it seems like you get to take a lot of fun pictures in your history here, Gina, and that's been a beautiful thing. And I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna get mad at me, but at least between you and the Bills, somebody's won a championship.
Wait, I missed that. I'm sorry.
I thought your silence was anger. I said at least between you and the Bills, somebody won a championship.
Oh God, here we go. We're not going to talk about the Bills. Yeah. Well, I mean, I haven't always won. I've learned a lot from losing. So, I think was another piece of me going into this job that I felt I could give to Colleen Mullen and their staff. They were creating and recruiting some really great players. They weren't winning as much, but they were young. So as time went on, with their team, they started to win a little bit more. And I just think that I would have been able to give them some good advice, through the years of my own, experience of not winning and then winning a few more games. I think. Yeah, it's I haven't won all the time, Dan. My experiences at Siena, being there, I've had some good experiences, but I've also had a few droughts as well, and I learned a lot from those years. And that's what I brought to Moyne, and that's what I hope to bring to Colleen and to any other staff I'm on. Well,
you keep building, like you said. It took time, but you found a way to do it. The the America East, March 1st, 5th, and 10th is when they'll be in the tournament, and very excited for UAlbany here to have the opportunity to step forward and hopefully have some more hardware to raise. Gina, as always, I appreciate it and appreciate all the work that you're doing and everything that you're giving to UAlbany and the expertise that you bring. I know you're very humble, and I know you said, everything good takes time, and I know that personally as well, but thank you for the work that you continue to do and for the people you continue to help and for always giving me some time on the show. I appreciate the good ones out there, and you're one of the great ones, so thank you for that.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate you having me on, and God bless you. You're the best.
And God bless you, too. And I'll say this for you out of love. Go Bills. So.
Oh, love it. All right. Go Bills and go Days. And go Fins. They'll be back. We're going to come back in the East region, so.
There we go. So with that being said, thank you, Gina. I'll talk with you soon. Take care.
Take care.
See you. God bless. That coming from Gina Castelli here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. And, she's the best. So I appreciate that. I really do appreciate her kind words. It means a lot to me. Yeah. So again, it's an emotional show. I mean, it's all of these coaches, right? And just seeing they've all been head coaches, they've all been on coaching staffs, they've learned, right? Shawn Peake came to Bryant and Stratton after being in other places. Gina spent so many years as a head coach and is now an executive coach at UAlbany and doing this new chapter in her career that she's really excited about, and so am I. Tammi was an assistant, now she's a head coach. Adam Zaczkowski was an assistant, now he's a head coach. So seeing all of these coaches, all of these leaders, these people that are charged with helping others, right? In order to be a coach, you have to be willing to give of yourself. What a lot of people don't understand, especially when it comes to, people looking at the money in certain situations, right? But people think, oh, you're a coach, you get paid, blah, blah, blah. The reality of it all is being a coach is a job of service. And that's a beautiful thing. People don't think about that, right? Coaches get a lot of talk on their name. And I know that from spending 19 years in this world and counting. Coaches, there's a lot of conversation about coaches, right? They win, they lose, they this, that. And like Tammi said, coaches don't forget the ones that have always been there. They know that, and she's not the first person that said that to me. Coaches know when they win, everybody's going to show up. They know that. I know that. I've been in gyms, I see a team ranked first, and I'm the only person in the gym in the media, and I'm thinking, where's everybody else? Why doesn't anybody else want to talk about this awesome, incredible moment and this feat that this team achieved? And I don't get it. I mean, here, look at Moyne Endwell. Look at Matt Gallagher, the football coach. He gets honored by the NFL this year, but have people really taken the time in the media to get around this guy, And I look at the world that Binghamton is trying to build at the university and what they've done down there, and their incredible facilities, and yet, you know what I mean? And when they win, they know everybody's going to show up, right? Coaches know that. They know that once they start winning, everybody and their mother's going to be, oh, I loved you. I paid attention to you for so many years. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And it's such a job of service, and sometimes it's a thankless job, to be a head coach or to be on a coaching staff as an assistant or an executive, whatever it may be. When you are a coach, you are almost always criticized, probably very few times thanked. And I take that personally because, in doing Wake Up Call and the Dan Tortora show and MU Courtside and everything we've done, there's been somewhere around at least 4,000 people on the show. And I treat everybody the same. I treat the coaches that have started a season 0-16 and the coaches that haven't lost a game in 2.5 years the exact same way. And the reason why I do that is because I believe in a God that doesn't see a difference, right? I just look at people for who they are. If you're a good person, you're doing things with morals and values, you're trying, and you're giving it all you got, I don't care what your record is. I'm always going to love and respect that, right? It's when people are really successful and they're not nice to people, and you wonder, where have they gone? Why did they get there, right? Somebody who has it but doesn't appreciate anybody that helped them get there. Or a coach who, I would rather talk to a coach that is 0-13 and is great with their players, has a great relationship, is building something, you believe in it, you see the foundation being laid, and they're good to the people that come out in the media, they're good to the people in their family, they're good to their players, they're good to their coaches, they're building a good culture. I would support them a million times over more than a 13-0 team where a coach is just not a nice person. And I go to, it's a job of service, because some coaches forget that. Some coaches forget that it's not about serving yourself, serving your money, serving your ego, but it's about serving the community. It is, and I don't think, I keep saying it because I don't think a lot of people realize that being a coach is a job of service. And if you're a D3 coach or a USC, USCAA coach or an NJCAA coach, you're not making that crazy money. If you're D2 coach, you're not. Division One, and even in Division One, it depends on where you are. So when you think, oh, these coaches make an ungodly amount of money, yeah, some of them do. A really tiny little group of them do. But when you look at the rest of D1, D2, D3, USCAA, and NJCAA, these coaches are not making an incredible amount of money, yet they are responsible for your children. And the community is watching them. Their student athletes are watching them. Their ADs are watching them. Their presidents and chancellors are watching them. The alumni are watching them. The boosters are watching them. It's a really difficult job to be a coach. And I can't say that I've lived in it long. I coached soccer when I was in Pennsylvania on ESPN radio there. But I can tell you that is one of the most difficult things I ever had to leave. People said to me, was it hard to leave Pennsylvania and come back to New York? And I said there was only one thing that was hard to do. Harder than anything. There was a couple things. It was my first apartment. It was, the number on the apartment was 213, which people know that, I feel like my grandfather comes to me through numbers. His number 13, my number 21, and a lot of times they come together as 213. So it was hard to leave that apartment, the first home I built by myself. It was hard to, leave one of my best friends in Ross and not be right down the street to go see a movie any day of the week. It was hard to not be down the street from my alma mater, Marywood University. And it was hard to leave my first ever, gig out of college and the first program director that believed in my show and believed in me as a broadcaster and thought that I was capable and good enough to get on the air. And, I'll never forget that, and my work I got to do at ESPN Radio 630, 1240, and 96.1 FM. But the hardest thing that I had to do was to leave the kids I was coaching, and it is a job of service. The more you coach, the more you feel like, okay, I want us to win because I want the kids to feel good. I want their parents to enjoy being out because they're going to be out here rain or shine for hours. So I want them to enjoy it. I want to enjoy it. I want the kids to enjoy it. I want the community to enjoy it. I want the organization that hired me to enjoy it. So, it's it is a job of serving the community, and it's a very difficult job to take on. And I commend the coaches that do it. And I have met so many incredible coaches that have morals, that have values, that appreciate and respect, that don't lose themselves within their ego. And, you know, I call them when they lose and I call them when they win, because that's what you do when you care about people. When you care about the story, you'll call them when they win. But when you care about the people, you will call them at a time where they probably don't want to answer the phone, and they do, and you talk and you feel happy just at the fact that they saw your number pop up and they answered it, right? That at a time when they've lost a game or lost a championship, that they still want to have that conversation, you know. And I pride myself on those relationships, you know. I would say most of the coaches and players that I know have become friends. That of that 4,000, you know, there's more than plenty of them that I can text and say, hey, how you doing? How's your dad? You know, what's going on with you? Congratulations on your engagement. You know, it doesn't stop with whatever sport they play or coach. So, you know, I just feel like this morning it's important to thank the good ones. And I have 4 of them on the show today. And there's so many more to come. Adam Zaczkowski has been a consummate professional and just a treasure to have. And he challenges me, and I love that. I don't even know if he knows that. And Tammi, God, if, you know, if I had a sister that I didn't know I had who had the same thoughts in her brain, you know, I love the way that Tammi brings it out of me. And Gina, one of my best and closest friends that I've ever met through doing what I love. I don't know if they make them better than Gina. And if they do, it'd be really hard to. And then you have Shawn Peake, who from the second that he was building this program at Bryant and Stratton for baseball in their inaugural season, he's been building this thing for a long time. We met, a year ago? And he is so appreciative and so kind and so good. It always makes the time to come up to me just to shake my hand at a basketball game that he's helping out at for Bryant and Stratton, and smile and how you doing? How's everything? And, you know, it's just, you see all these coaches in different parts of their career, and yet they're all humble, kind, hardworking, and they appreciate the people that appreciate them. And, you know, I love that. It goes a long way. So today, not just for Shawn and Gina and Tammi and Adam, but for all of the coaches that I've had on the show, for all of the student athletes, for all the ADs and the presidents and so on and so forth, I want to thank you all for not your success in wins and losses, but for your goodness of heart, your openness to getting to know me, for giving me a chance, for seeing me as the man that I am and have chosen to be, and for allowing me the opportunity to tell your story, the story of your organization, your team. I want to thank you for letting me be a part of your life. It means a lot to me. So thank you for that. God bless. So here I am saying an emotional thing, and I wasn't reading the comments, and Greg said, poking the bear in the Bills Mafia DT. Yeah, all in good fun, because Bills fans know if you're not playing my Jaguars, I always want you guys to win. And that's something that I said to my man Cookie out at the, you know, the Beeville Backers bar there at Pizza Man Pub on 50 Oswego Street, who we love very much. Great partner in Pizza Man. And again, talk about great people and wanting to work with great people. The Delias are those great people and their staff. So yeah, I told Cookie, Jeff Cook, that because he said to me, I was watching a Bills game. I had my Jaguars jersey on because the Jags had been playing, and he said, yeah, he's a Jags fan, but he was saying to somebody, he goes, but you know, he goes, you support us, right? You're kind of with us now, like you got it. And I said, yeah, man, as long as you're not playing Jacksonville, you know, I'm by your side. You know, I want to see the Bills win, so all in good fun. Greg said, how high does Cocaine Bear rank on the list of movies that you have to see? How high is very funny in talking about cocaine. So and I would know nothing of cocaine. I make jokes about it based on the things that people say about it, but yeah, I am not someone to ever try any of those extracurriculars. I like to consider myself not within that world on purpose. I've never been drunk either. So, you know, people, oh, you're a straight edge? No, I just decided to never put myself in that situation. Greg said, how high does Cocaine Bear rank on the list of movies you have to see? Well, Greg, I don't, you know, I was going to see it. And then I was like, do I really want to see it? And then I thought, well, I'm interested enough to see it. But people that know me know that I love going to the movies. So, you know, if I'm in a place like I'm in right now, where I've pretty much seen everything, you know, that I wanted to see, then I guess at this point, maybe I do go see Cocaine Bear. So, oh yeah, my nickname, Coke, for Arson and Coke, or Ross and I. Yeah, I mean, it is my nickname. Maybe that's why you asked. Of why I want to, do I want to see Cocaine Bear? Yeah, I'd probably go see it. You know, I think any type of good snack and drink at the movie theater can make that fun. But yeah, I mean, I might go see Cocaine Bear. Potentially. I don't know what provoked that question, but sure, why not? So, yeah, I guess I'll go see it. It is my nickname, Arson and Coke. It is a persona that I take on when Ross and I are doing the show together. So that is a very true statement. We're going to take a step aside for a fast break. We'll be back momentarily with Shawn Peake. Very excited to have Shawn join me here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets that thing called life. The head coach of the first ever baseball program at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, coming off their first ever game. They are now officially a part of history. We'll talk about it after this. Avicoli's, located on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, has been your trusted neighbor for decades. Located just steps from Liverpool High School, we're happy to have the Liverpool Warriors on-site, on-location broadcast at Avicoli's through Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora every single month, featuring student athletes, coaches, and administration throughout the year from Liverpool High School. Head out to Avicoli's today on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road in Liverpool, New York, open Tuesday through Sunday for lunch, dinner, and drinks. We'd love to see you out there. And of course, you can call them at 315-622-5100 for takeout, delivery, and catering. That's 315-622-5100. And also find them on myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. Having peace of mind when you're out of town that your furry-loving friend is safe and sound means taking them to Canine Campground, because we all know that when it comes to the love of our pets, it goes well beyond the call of duty to make sure they're safe and sound. Right, Lily? So take a ride to 242 Johnson Street in East Syracuse, New York, and see Canine Campground and where your dog will be staying, in the classic cabin, the executive cabin, the grand cabin, or of course the luxury cabin, because if you know Lily, you know she loves luxury. Now you don't have to wait to the last minute to find a family member or a friend that'll take your dog for a few days. Call Canine Campground at 315-299-4013. That's 315-299-4013. Their drop-off and pickup times are Monday through Sunday. Check K9campground.com for more information. That's the letter K, the number 9, and campground spelled with a K.com. K9campground.com.
When you're going out of town, bring your dog to Canine Campground.
PB&J's Lunchbox, the food truck that you love finding all throughout Central and Upstate New York, now has a street-side cafe. So when you're craving their traditional favorites as well as their out-of-box amazing menu items, you can now head to 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. Located just minutes from the highway, the Thruway, Destiny USA, and Onondaga Lake Parkway, PB&J's Lunchbox Street-Side Cafe is there for you Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., serving breakfast, lunch, and and dinner all throughout the day. Get breakfast for dinner, dinner for lunch, whatever you fancy, including their award-winning grilled peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Find them at 663 Old Liverpool Road in Liverpool, New York. PB&J's Lunchbox, where we love to know what's in your lunchbox. This is a special message from 317 at Montgomery restaurant owner Joel Carpenter. Open Tuesday through Saturday for your dining pleasure on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York.
We wanted to be a part of the resurgence of Syracuse. We saw a lot of money being put into bringing people back downtown and thought that, we'd like to be a part of that. I love putting together a good dish where people see it first, they fall in love with it, and then it tastes just as good as it looks. We want to provide the best food in Syracuse that we possibly can, and we want you to leave here talking to your family, your friends about what you had to eat first and foremost, but also our service, and to walk out feeling like you're part of our family. I work out in the front of the house a lot, and I love walking to every single table, asking them how everything is, and people looking at me and smiling and saying, this is the most amazing short rib I've ever had. This is the most amazing filet I've ever had. And Donna is great. Sarah's amazing. Thank you for coming over and talking to us. And them just being truly happy for the experience that they've gotten.
317 at Montgomery Restaurant, part of the fabric of downtown Syracuse, located on 317 Montgomery Street in Syracuse, New York. Open Tuesday through Saturday for a unique and memorable dining experience.
Café Kubal offers same-day local delivery of our products, offering no delivery charge for Onondaga County. Shop cafekubal.com for fresh roasted coffee beans, cold brew, travel mugs, and all your essential Café Kubal needs. Café Kubal, coffee for the soul.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating. Find them at 201 Old 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and all the time online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, you can order all throughout the country at maandpaspopcorn.com. And remember to get your tins, which have in-store half-price refills forever. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, available to you for fundraising and all of your events by calling 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus, where you will find handcrafted all-natural soy wax candles over 60 cents to freshen up your home. We carry a wide range of locally made items, Salsa Q's, Syracuse Salt, and Chocolate Pizza Company, to name a few. Let our knowledgeable staff help choose unique gifts and keepsakes for any occasion. Gifts for family and friends, and maybe a little something for yourself. Woody Wicks Candles and Gift Shop, Township 5 Camillus.
This is a special message from Merritt Brady, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Watertown on 1290 Arsenal Street in Watertown, New York.
Chick-fil-A for me has always been about the people. I think it starts with the strength and leadership of the Cathy family. It's just amazing to see a family-run business reach the altitude that they have. Second mile service is something that we embodied at my previous business, and the ability to make people feel like they're the only person at your establishment, that you are there to serve them that day and looking for those extra ways to make them happy, to anticipate what they need next is what makes me tick. And I'm going to have so many opportunities at Chick-fil-A to do that. It's one of my favorite things to eat in the world. My favorite application question or interview question when I'm interviewing is when I get to, have you ever eaten at Chick-fil-A? And a smile hits both their ears. They can't even answer the question for a second. And when I see that, it's like, man, that's going to be a great hire. They already get it. They already feel it. They already know that we're different. The Chick-fil-A experience, it's a real thing. And then, of course, just our generosity and community involvement and making a positive impact in the lives of our team members, our guests, and the community in general, I think is really the secret sauce.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. We appreciate you being here every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, and I am honored by everybody, not only here in Central and Upstate New York, but around the East Coast, the Midwest, and the West Coast, as well as all around this beautiful spinning globe that we have that joins us on the broadcast of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. Thank you for being with us from... I'm going to try and remember as many as I can from Italy, England, Mexico, Canada, Russia, China, Spain, and I think we've had people from France as well. So thank you to everybody that's been in here, tuning into the broadcast and spending some time with us. Maybe Wake Up Call could be like the new United Nations, right? If we got everybody listening, maybe I can try and bring people together since nothing else has worked. So we'll see if we can. I know that I could definitely lighten the room with some comedy. And then once we're laughing and having a good time, I feel like that's easier to get some conversations done. So I'll work on it. With that being said, here inside of the Cafe Kubal studios and Ma and Pa's Popcorn.com's What's Poppin', bringing you the list of topics for the day. Shawn Peake rounds out today's day of coaches, and we have had a plethora of fantastic people. And as I told Shawn, no pressure. But Adam Zaczkowski, Tammi Reiss, Gina Castelli all joining the show. And now we have Shawn Peake. And all jokes aside, Shawn and I met each other a year ago at least. And he has been building this baseball program from the ground up. It had never existed at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse to build a program to make the bare bones. To literally just walk to a plot of land and say, okay, I'm going to build on this land. And then to start getting all the materials, nailing those things down and putting those, pieces together to build a foundation. That is something that you don't see, but I got to see through talking with him and talking with his student athletes. And I'm very excited to tell the story of something that is history in the making. And with that being said, we have the historic moment of the first ever game. It's official now. Shawn and I talked about it for a year, and now we actually have the first game and first two games ever played by Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse in their baseball history. So it's a beautiful thing. This is a historic interview and conversation because we've never gotten to talk about a game before for this baseball program. So it means a lot to me. But before we do that, I just want people to know that, and he can say what he wants to say, and he can be humble about it or however he wants to respond. But Shawn Peake has been one of those people. I know he's, been in this baseball world as a player and coaching, and he's had his experience doing it, and he can say that he's young in the game. But I would tell you that in all the years that I've done this and all the people that I've interviewed, he has always been kind to me, good to me, always a smile, asking me how I'm doing, makes time for me. And he may not know it yet as being a young coach here, a young head coach, but it's people like him that you want to fight for, and it's people like him you want to see succeed. And I know the caliber of human being he is because I've seen the student athletes he's brought in. And he's got some really incredible people that go well beyond baseball. So Shawn and I have gotten emotional in interviews before because he's proud and I'm proud. And it looks like we're going to get emotional again, and that's fine. But I'm going to bring him in. Shawn Peake, part of the historic first ever games played by Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, the baseball team, their first ever head coach, first ever season, first ever games, and I am very proud that our paths have crossed. This is a special Bobcat Buzz, and I bring in my friend Shawn Peake. How you doing, sir?
Hey, Danny. How you doing, man?
I'm doing well. So bring me into it. You and I have talked about this for such a long amount of time. I can't believe it was a year ago that we're discussing the hopes and the plans for the future. Bring me through the past year when you stepped on the field and the game was finally going to happen. Just what went through your head of all of this time that you put in the background?
It was definitely a crazy year, and I thank you for the kind words. Everything has been, a lot for me. I've been doing my absolute best to try to get everything going here and really make a name for ourselves and try to get a good product. And like you said, not just the product on the baseball field, but the product off the baseball field as well. Really trying to keep these guys to be good men and not just be another bump in the wall on the road in life. Hopefully, we can actually be good people in life and accomplish things. But going with the whole year of the baseball program and trying to get everything going, that was pretty crazy. And then obviously, yes, we got to finally step on the field yesterday, and that was pretty crazy. That was pretty crazy. The emotions were definitely high for us. A lot of my guys, to be honest, there's only 3 guys on the roster before yesterday that ever played a college baseball game. So it was a very cool moment to see a lot of, the guys that have never played or done it or, seen even how it all works, to be a part of it. They were, I think it was a little bit of a shell shock for a couple of them. But hey, I think that's kind of how it is for a lot of freshmen. I know it was my freshman year, my first game. The shell shock for a couple of them. I think it was a pretty cool day. It was a lot happened. There was a lot of things that were positives, negatives, and it was good to finally just step on the field and just have those emotions for the first time.
So when you look back on those positives, Shawn, what were some of the positives you took away from the first 2 games ever played in the history of the baseball program at Bryant and Stratton, Syracuse?
Absolutely. So, I really think that we have not just a good baseball team, but like I said, we have good people that actually care about each other. So I did see a lot of the positives were, picking each other up when we're getting down. Hey, you know what? We didn't have 2 of the greatest games ever played yesterday, but you know what? There was guys that, hey, we're still sticking with each other. And then it was to see guys really succeed in the moments that I kind of tried to put them in. I said, okay, well, you know what? These guys are hopefully going to have to be in this situation, or maybe this is a high leverage situation for them, and let's see what they got. And a couple of the guys really showed me that, you know what, okay, I can do this, and I've put in the work, and this is, my time, and I can actually do it. So I was very proud of a couple of them for sure. That definitely showed me a lot. I think we had some good pitching moments. The score might not show that, our pitchers actually pitched pretty well, but they actually did throw pretty well. Throwing strikes is half the battle, and when you're throwing strikes, hey, sometimes you're going to get hit, and that's kind of what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and I don't want to call them negatives, but the areas of improvement, the areas to work on. I mean, this is an inaugural season. This is the first time this baseball team has ever played together, and like you said, outside of 3 guys on your roster, nobody else has played a collegiate game before. So what are those areas through the first 2 games, now that you have something that you can actually go back and really and look back on, watch and whatnot, when you go back to these games, now that you have games under your belt, what have you seen of areas that you want to really hone in on in practice?
Absolutely. I think we just getting our mental approach definitely is gonna be one of the biggest things. At being so young and never really doing it, and now finally realizing, like, okay, that's the level, that's how fast the game kind of moves. Our mental approach needs to get a little bit better and kind of realize that, hey, okay, I can do this too. I'm a college baseball player too. I'm not just, here and these guys are just going to come in and whoever the other team is and beat us up because they're college baseball players. No, we got to realize that, hey, we can do this too. It's just another day playing baseball. That's really all it is. And we're young. I'm going to chalk a lot of this up to we're growing pains. We're learning, we're growing, and it's not going to be the easiest thing. But I'm not going to sit here and try to dwell on all those, because that's what I told the guys. Hey, we're young. We just went into a team that had 50 guys on their roster, and they all have sophomores, juniors, seniors, guys that have played there for 4 years, and we're freshmen. We got 17 freshmen basically. So, I knew it was going to be tough, but if they could just compete, just try to compete as much as they could, and just give me what they had, just to show me what we got, and that's really all I was asking from them yesterday.
Yeah, and when you have these conversations going into it, and you have all this build up to the first ever game in the history of Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball, how did you see the guys respond to what you asked of them? And when you get on the bus and you're coming back home, what was that environment like when you're talking to everybody?
Right. So I'll say on the field is where the emotions probably weren't the best, and that's where we might have had some negatives, where guys are getting taken out of the game or this or that, and they're upset. And obviously, I would be too if I was playing and my team's getting beat pretty good, and I'm not really having a great day. But then turning around and not being a great teammate back to them, where I'm just going to go sit on the bench and pout. But we can't have that. So it's kind of learning that, hey, okay, I'm out now. I'm not playing well. Whatever. Life moves on. There's something else going on. I still need to be a good teammate and cheer for my brother. That's was cheering for me while I was in the game. So that's the kind of the growing pains of that, being so young, not necessarily knowing, having the first game, not understanding how to deal with the emotions. So that's I'm not going to sit there and necessarily call them negatives, or the environment wasn't great with that, but that's where I guess it comes in my job to make sure they know that that's not acceptable, and make sure going forward that we're not doing those kind of things.
Yeah, I mean, and emotions run high in these games. There's the emotion of standing out there and being a head coach of a program that never existed before. From now until forever, you will be the first ever head coach of Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball. When you stood out on that field and you just looked at the sky with your hat on, arms probably crossed, silence, what was going through your head?
A lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of emotion. Definitely a lot of emotion. Everything, just life emotions. I kissing the sky to say hi to my grandmothers. Turning around and having my mother be there. That was awesome. My dad was in the dugout as one of my assistant coaches. I had family there, so there was just a lot of emotion. And then I'm sitting there. Okay, I have to coach a baseball game. and I see our first guy walk up to the plate, and I'm like, wow, here it is. This is really very real now, and definitely very emotional. Definitely very emotional. And like my other assistant coach that ended up coming with me was my high school pitching coach, and we've been shout out Coach V and CJ Vivacqua. It was amazing that he could come with us for the weekend. He was one of my first assistant coaches when I started playing at Liverpool when I was in 7th grade. And now we've been, friends and coaches together for a long time now. And we've almost known each other for 20 years. That feels crazy to even say, but just having the people, especially like him, my father, my mother, everybody that was there, everybody that texted me, called me after, before, that just said, hey, congratulations, good luck today. All of that was just super amazing.
And when you reflect on yourself in these first couple games in the history of the baseball program at Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse, these are the first 2 games that'll ever be etched into the history of the team. What did you learn about yourself as a coach, and how did you reflect when you looked in the mirror this morning?
I tried to stay as positive as I possibly could. I knew it was going to be a tough day. I knew we were going to walk into kind of a lion's den and possibly get beat up a little bit. But I tried to stay positive and keep the guys positive. I didn't want to say too many negative words. Absolutely, where I had to say, hey, we can't do this or we can't do that. You can't do this, you can't do that, because that's not how the game is played. But I tried to keep the smile on my face. I tried to, take a deep breath here and there to try to just keep myself in check and say, hey, listen, this is growing pains. This is growing pains. They're freshmen. Everybody goes through it. Everybody goes through it when they're a freshman. I just happen to have 17. So I just tried to keep my emotions in check and keep going.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you go through this and it's, it's the first time that these guys are playing together. Essentially, they're all freshmen, so they haven't had this experience. What type of positives does this experience give you? I know you said like on the field itself, the things that you were looking at, but as a coach, now that you have something to talk to your guys about that isn't just them going up against each other, what does this do for the team? Despite starting off, with a couple losses here on the road, what can you take from this and turn into a bright spot as opposed to a dark day?
Right. Honestly, it almost gives us a kind of a roadmap to build off of a little bit, where it's like, okay, hey, we can go down this direction or we can go down this direction. Are we going to work hard and go down this direction, or are we just going to lay down and not get up in the fight? And I really think with the guys that I have, we're going to work as hard as possible and try to make this thing as good as possible. We talk about all this all the time. These guys say how good they want to be and how great they want to be and how great they want to be as a team, as individuals, all of that kind of stuff. But they just don't know how to put it there yet and how to really put it all together. And that's kind of the thing I think we're learning. We're learning. We're going to have to put it all together a little bit. But I think we have a good roadmap to say, okay, hey, we can start here. This is what we can work on today. This is what we can work on tomorrow. This is what we can work on the next day and going forward. And I think the guys they'll see it. They'll see it. And like the whole year leading up to this, we worked extremely hard. And hey, we finally got to the product of playing our first game. And even though it didn't go that well, we still did it. We still got to do it, So I think there's a roadmap that leads us to some success.
And I think looking at this, a very special Bobcat Buzz exclusive to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora here with Shawn Peake, Bryant and Stratton, Syracuse baseball head coach, I should say, and here with us as the baseball head coach of the team, the first head coach ever of this team, first time we've ever got to see this team out in action. Shawn, as this season was coming to fruition and you were putting the schedule together, there was so many conversations you and I had where it was like, is it gonna happen? When's it gonna happen? How's it gonna happen? Because you're trying to get, there and you're building something from the ground up. And, I think God works in very beautiful ways and interesting ways. Here you are about to go into your first game, and it was like, no, we're going to play that tomorrow. So bring me into that you've waited so long for this season to have its jump off, and then you had to wait another day. It was kind of, I don't know, I in my life, I find the comedy in that stuff where I'm like, why not another day? But how did you handle that? Like, you're waiting, you're anticipating, you're doing everything you can to build for this season. You finally get there, and then it's like, we're going to postpone this game, and we're going to play a doubleheader on Sunday.
Yeah, it definitely wasn't ideal. And, obviously losing 2 games off of the schedule, hopefully I'll be able to reschedule a couple more with somebody else or try to figure that out just so we can add the games back in. But it really wasn't something that I'll say I was shell-shocked by, like, oh, crap, I've had it happen to me in the past. I've sat in a hotel for an entire weekend and never got to play. So I'm not going to say I'm used to it, but I have had it happen to me before multiple times. So yes, I was super excited, but I also knew that there was a chance on Friday that we weren't going to play on Saturday. So I had it in my head, at least, of kind of building up this week. It was, okay, hey, if we don't play, let's find another plan. And honestly, I kind of thought it was not a blessing in disguise, but a little bit. Okay, you know what? I think we started our first 2 games. We saw where we're at. And now it gives us a little bit of a benchmark to say, okay, here's where we're at. This is where we want to get to. We just played a really good team in Fisher, and that's where we want to get to. They're a great team. And that's kind of what we are building. So I think Saturday was a great, honestly, team-building day. Where I'll even tell this story because this is probably the most, I'll use the word that everybody else is kind of saying. It's one of the most wholesome things I've probably ever seen out of a team in college, especially. I'm doing room checks at 10 o'clock on Friday night. Now, they knew we weren't playing already, and I still said, okay, boys, we're going to do some stuff in the morning. We have a morning workout, and then we're going to practice, and we'll figure out what we're going to do for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
So I go to do the room checks, and I cannot find 8 of them. I'm sitting there like, there's 4 rooms. I cannot find 8 guys. Where are they? I'm like, oh, crap. They're somewhere. So then all of a sudden, I'm looking around the hotel, and all of a sudden I hear a couple of them down in the lobby. And now it's still like a couple minutes before curfew, so I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I walk down into the lobby. I had 8 guys sitting there playing Monopoly. I could not believe it.
Yeah.
They're literally sitting there. Like, I know my college teammates, they certainly weren't playing Monopoly in the hotel. I know that for sure. So it was just a wholesome kind of moment to even realize, like, I do have really good kids on top of their, you know what, I can care less at the end of the day, you know, how great we are at baseball and this and that. But they're really good kids. They're really good kids. And the team bonding just from that moment right there, I'm hoping that just builds better baseball players because they're closer and tighter together. That's kind of the big thing that I took away from it. Like, then we practiced in the parking lot on Saturday. We went over stuff. I said, guys, we're going to get used to this cold weather. You guys we haven't really been able to be outside on the field. It's been snowing in Syracuse. So we went outside in the parking lot and had a great practice, honestly. It was one of our better practices probably of the year, and we were standing in the parking lot of a hotel. Yeah. And then another, just on top of it, you know Evan Reynolds and his wonderful story, his parents and everything. They were wonderful for us on Saturday. His family came. They're only about 30 minutes away from where we were staying at our hotel. They came and brought a big feast for us for dinner. So we had pasta, meatballs, a sausage, name it, all kinds of food, everything like that. So it was a really, honestly, like I said, kind of a blessing in disguise, where it was a great team bonding day. Not just like, oh, crap, we're not going to play today. We kind of refocused to like, okay, how can we get better today? And let's just continue building on this bond that we have.
Yeah, you know, and I love that. And I'm not surprised that Evan's parents are awesome, because Evan does so many things out of the goodness of his heart, and I've seen that firsthand. So, but, you know, I mean, it's such a beautiful thing. Everything that you told, you know, like, here I am saying, okay, my guys, it's almost curfew. Where are they? What are they doing? And you're down in the lobby, and you walk down there, you hear all these voices, and they're playing Monopoly, you know, and you go and you're in the parking lot. You're not on a baseball field. You're just chilling out in the hotel parking lot, and you could be doing nothing. You could just be sitting there, but you're having a practice and you're talking. You said the 3 words, closer, tighter, together, and that's huge, right? Closer, building those bonds, building those connections. Tighter, making sure that those bonds can't be broken. And together, win, lose, or draw, you got your brother's back. So, closer, tighter, together. I mean, you're probably going to have to put that on a T-shirt, sir.
I might have to get a Bobcat logo on it somewhere.
Yeah. So, I have now, it's funny, I was going to bring this up, and then one of my listeners asked me to bring it up. But the world is a beautiful place, and God works in very purposeful ways. One of my best friends in the entire world just got asked to be the head coach of Luzerne County Community College and resurrect their baseball program. You just said you need a couple more games. I was going to throw this to you anyways, and I don't know if it can work out. I know we're live on air here on radio and TV, but it may be worth giving my buddy a call, because he's in the Pennsylvania area. He's probably a 2-hour drive from Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse. So maybe Luzerne County Community College could be a phone call to get somebody else on the schedule.
Hey, well, that's not a bad idea at all. I'm definitely looking into doing that, or some type of deal like that in the next. I was going to call probably a couple of my buddies today, see if any of their teams have availability. But definitely send me his number after, and I'll definitely give him a call.
And through everything you've been through and what you've done to prepare this for at least a year's time, if not more, what type of advice would you give to, my buddy taking over this program, Ross Turetsky, or to anybody out there? What would be your advice, your words of wisdom for coaches that are taking over a program as you are doing the exact same thing?
remember to breathe. Remember that it's going to be okay. You have to be extremely patient. It's going to take a long time. Even this year, I know I still have to be patient. This is not the final product of what I want. It's gonna get better before it's gonna get worse before it's gonna get better. That's definitely gonna happen. I know. Like yesterday, I'm sitting there. Hey, we finally did it, but I knew yesterday wasn't gonna go that great.
Yeah.
And you have to be patient. You have to be patient. It's not gonna. Rome wasn't built in a day, right?
Yeah.
You know that kind of stuff. Where if you're expecting, the results right away, probably have to change your mindset a little bit. I'm expecting just keep the grind, man. You could really just have to work at it. It is not easy trying to build a program or especially trying to reestablish a program. I'm sure that's going to be just as hard. But work extremely hard, sacrifice things that you don't normally sacrifice, and just love what you do. And if you can, love what you do and put all your passion into it, then, you're going to have some results. And if you can be patient, then you'll be okay in the end.
Yeah, and I agree with that wholeheartedly. And all of that is true. You got to work through a lot of things to get to where you want to go. If you want to build sustained success, you have to go through really, really tough days. If you want to build fake success, you might be able to pull it off, and do a couple things. But I wouldn't tell people to do that. Anything I've ever done in life is supposed to be built for a lifetime and is built for a lifetime. And if it's not built for a lifetime, I don't want to do it. So, that's how I go into it. I love what you're doing, Shawn. I appreciate it. I'm so excited about it. You still owe me a pinstripe jersey. I'm not going to let that go. So, is anybody wearing 21 on the team or no?
21. Nobody's 21, but it might be a double XL, so you might be swimming in it.
Well, all I'm saying is I think that I think you and I have built enough of a bond that I should have a Tortora jersey hanging in the studio. So
we're going to have to get you something.
All right, fair enough. I had to bring it up on air so that you actually do it. I'm kidding. But no, I'm kidding. He's actually been great about getting me some awesome stuff, and I actually have the well, you know what? Let me bring it out. It's right over my shoulder. But I made a promise to your team, and I'm sure you and the guys remember this, but I made a promise when we did our roundtable discussion, first one ever with the baseball team at Bryant and Stratton in their inaugural season. And I have the Bryant and Stratton logo that is on this baseball, and I asked them to sign this so that I have forever that the first ever baseball team and first ever baseball interviews that I did with Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse came from Evan Reynolds, Alex Garcia, and Brian Angelis, as well as Shawn Peake, the head coach who's with me right now. I told these guys that once this baseball was signed, it would be over my shoulder in the studio. And I want you to see it. If you haven't paid attention, folks, to behind me, it sits right here with the Bobcat over my shoulder in the studio. So keeping your word is an important thing. It is right here in the studio where it's supposed to be. And, so it's things like that. So I want you to know, Shawn, and I'm sure you already know this, but win, lose, or draw, that baseball is a baseball that years down the road, I'm going to take that and I'm going to bring that back. And we're going to have a conversation about a championship team and how that baseball was my beginning of covering this team. So I hold stuff like that because I know people like you and the guys that you recruit are going to make that baseball worth a lot of money, and I'm never going to sell it. So
that's for sure. That's for sure.
I'm excited about it. So let's get into Major League Baseball here for a second before we finish up this Bobcat Buzz with Mr. Shawn Peake, celebrating the inaugural season, the first ever coach, the first ever games, all of this history being made, and Wake Up Call being the exclusive place to get to talk about this historic moment, which I feel incredibly honored and blessed to be able to do beyond measure. Major League Baseball is changing some stuff. The plates are going to be giant pizza boxes at this point. Home plate will not be a landing helicopter strip is what I asked for. I didn't get it. So we're not going to have that. So we have bigger bases. We have second basemen that actually have to play second base. Weird. And we have the infield has to stay within the infield when the pitcher is pitching. Also weird. And then pitchers are going to have a clock. Batters can only step out once. Pitchers can only have 2 breakaways from action. And if they do more than that, then it's a balk, and whoever's on base gets to take the next base. So what are your thoughts on the pitch clock and what a pitcher has to abide by now, as well as the amount of time the pitcher has in between pitches, depending on who's on base or not on base? The batter can only step out of that box one time, bigger bases, and the reality that the infield has to play infield. I threw a lot at you, but I'd love to get your thoughts.
No, absolutely. I guess I'll kind of start with the pitch clock.
Yeah.
I am somebody that likes the pitch clock. I like as a catcher and being a pitcher back in the day, I was somebody that even now I tell my guys and preach this to my pitchers, and just get right back on the mound and throw. The more time you think, the more time you're going to probably throw a ball. And pitchers are in their heads too much anyways, man. Just get back on the mound and throw it. I'd rather have the game moving a little bit faster. That's where I always thought even pitchers that were better pitchers, they usually worked faster. And that's where you could even see, or I saw some highlights of like Max Scherzer last night. He just absolutely dominated one guy. It took him 20 seconds for the whole at bat. That's pretty incredible. Yeah. So it's just seeing that kind of stuff is going to be pretty awesome. And it's going to bring out a different level of competitiveness too, I think. It's like, all right, man, get in the box. Let's go. Let's hit. Also, I guess with the pizza boxes, I don't think it's going to be the worst thing in the world. It's probably a good thing for the major leagues, especially. Those guys get paid a lot of money, and little injuries, keeping them off the field. That's not keeping ownership and people or fans happy. If they can make some type of little change, where if it is like that, making the bases just a little bit bigger. I'm all for it. I'd love to see Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, all those guys on the field every single game, every single year. But if they're gonna, if that's gonna keep them on the field, cool. Make the bases as big as you need to. I think it's gonna help. With that kind of part of it, it's probably gonna help. Stolen bases or maybe beating the ball out at first base here or there. I don't think it's gonna really play into the factor that much. I don't think it's going to be crazy, but I think it's going to be probably a good thing for it. And actually, we have the rules where we could change our bases as well. If we had a home field on campus here, we would have to have our own bases. But since we play at a town park, it's really up to the town to own whatever bases they own, either 15 or 18-inch ones.
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely. I mean, it's going to make for. Listen, they want, in my opinion. They're putting it more on the defense to have a better game than the offense. They want the offense they want there to be more offense in baseball, more people on base, more scoring, and they want it to be quicker because people in today's America can't seem to focus for 15 seconds. And is it good or bad for the game, though, that is this destroying the purity of the game, in your opinion?
No, I don't necessarily think it is. I thought the shifts were something that was kind of getting a little bit ridiculous. You got Manny Machado playing, he's a third baseman playing right field. I was like, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing? And then you see like the ball that's clearly should be a base hit to right field is never a hit again. And then you see guys pretty much lose their careers that they built on getting that hit. And now that they can't get that hit, they're out of Major League Baseball forever. So I think it's going to keep guys that are really good in the game a little bit longer now too. It's going to open up holes. It's going to keep scoring up. There's the advantages are going to probably go slightly towards the hitter, but I really don't think it's that much too crazy because it's only been maybe 10 years that we really had the shift in place, and now getting rid of it, it's probably not the worst thing.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to see what this is going to look like very, very soon, folks. And Major League Baseball testing these out after minor leagues had an opportunity to do it. Shawn Peake, Bobcat Buzz, historic season, first ever season for Bryant and Stratton Syracuse baseball, first ever head coach, first ever games were just played over the weekend, and this is your first interview about it. Stay close with all the exclusives on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora and Dan Tortora Broadcast Media in our multimedia marketing partnership with the Bobcats of Syracuse. For now, in the Bobcat Buzz, Mr. Peake, I appreciate it. A lot of great stuff coming up. I will get you that number for Luzerne County Community College, and you can get working. I kept my word of putting your baseball here over my shoulder, so that jersey better be over my shoulder sometime soon. That's all I'm saying.
We gotta get a guy to put Tortora on the back, and we should be fine.
There we go. I want you to stitch it yourself. That's what I want.
I know how to sew. I'll be fine. It might not look great, but I can do it.
Yeah. Now, all jokes aside, Shawn, congratulations on your first game. I know, win or lose, it meant everything to you to just get back on the field again, get to do this, and get to actually see all your hard work and all of these sleepless nights and everything that nobody sees but you see to come to fruition. So I know for you as a head coach, this is going to be one of the greatest moments of your life, I'm sure, that had nothing to do with the outcome of the game and everything to do with the fact that the game was played.
Absolutely, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you for, covering us as much as possible, given the exposure that, obviously we've never had before, and doing all the things that you do for us, just staying as positive as you are, and keep loving us the way you are, man.
Well, it's easy to love you guys when you recruit the people that you recruit, and you're the person that you are. So, Mr. Peake, I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you're doing. And you always got you got my number, you got my direct line. You ever need me, you know to make that phone call, and I'm more than happy to be there for you. So thank you for what you do. Thank you for the positivity you bring to me and the fun that I get to have in covering this team and being a part of literally history every single day. I can't thank you enough for that. So I appreciate it.
Absolutely, buddy. I really appreciate it, and I hope everything continues to go well for both of us.
It will. God is good, so I believe in that. So I will talk with you soon, and in the meantime, get your stitching ready. That's all.
Absolutely, buddy. I will. You have a great day, and I will talk to you soon.
All right, man. Be good.
You too.
Take care. Coming from Shawn Peake here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. So definitely appreciate having him here on the broadcast with me as always. And listen, folks, you got to sit here and think about the fact that, this to me is really, really, really cool. That I get to do this, that I get to cover an inaugural team. And think about it. I covered Danny Frisina as he started the Bryant and Stratton men's basketball program. I'm covering Clay Gagan-Sherman in his first season as a men's basketball head coach. I covered Clay when he became the first ever and built the women's basketball program, became their first ever head coach. And I'm covering Tay Baker with him being a first-time head coach ever. And it's all happening at Bryant and Stratton. And then on top of that, I get to cover two national champion head coaches in Nick Dimitrievsky of men's soccer and Alex Grigorita of women's soccer. Bryant and Stratton is a sleeping giant. And unfiltered access to that sleeping giant is a pretty amazing thing. I want to thank the entire team and everyone in the administration and athletic department of Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse for trusting me to tell your story. Because as much as you have said kind words like Shawn, I'm honored to do it. We'll take a step aside for a fast break and wrap up today's show right after this on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville beats. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always
here for you.
This is Jimmer Zaczkowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily. We bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
I'm George Townsend of Honda City with some good advice when buying a new car. The true cost of owning a new car is determined by the appraised value when you trade it. No vehicle appraises higher than a Honda. Next, look for low APRs and deep discounts. You also want low maintenance costs and great fuel economy. That's why my advice to you is to buy a new Honda. Looking pre-owned, visit our Honda Certified Used Car Center. Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard, Liverpool, or HondaCity-CNY.com.
It would be a pity if you don't shop at Honda City.
Our corporate purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being faithful stewards of all that's entrusted to us and to positively influence all those who come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And what became increasingly clear from our success in Cicero is that people love Chick-fil-A. And also I think we recognized that, we had a great opportunity to grow the brand and grow our platform. I felt incredibly grateful when I was selected to be a Chick-fil-A operator. I think what it's meant for me, what I've come to realize on a very deep level is that this is a calling for me. It's not a career. It's not a job. The Lord called me to be a Chick-fil-A operator and to use these restaurants to glorify Him and to positively influence other people. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Head to Chick-fil-A Clay on 3974 State Route 31 in Liverpool, New York.
Welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside of the Cafe Kubal studios, hanging out with you where sports truly meets that thing called life. Here with you every Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time on YouTube.com, Facebook.com, and MixLR.com, all /Wake Up Call DT. Worldwide availability to watch and listen. And, of course, you can also be with us on WakeUpCallDT.com's homepage and on Facebook.com /LiveNowDT. So however you're connecting with the show, thank you so much for being with us. You can also tune in to our archives. So many different ways to connect with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora on Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts, MixLR, TuneIn, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, iTunes, as I mentioned before, Player FM, Podbean, Podvine. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. That's all you have to do to connect with the show. It is free. It is easy. Do it today. Very big thanks to all of our incredible partners in the community. Cafe Kubal, Carvel DeWitt, the Wildcat Sports Pub, Witty Wicks, Avicoli's, PB&J's Lunchbox, Chick-fil-A Cicero and Chick-fil-A Clay, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Chick-fil-A Watertown, Great Lakes Honda City, Mod Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory, Mother's Cupboard, 317 at Montgomery. The name of the restaurant is the name of the location. 317 Montgomery Street in downtown Syracuse. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Pizza Man, and we are proud to be the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your Moyne College Dolphins. This is up every single month on Wake Up Call. Dan Tortora. Every Wednesday, we feature Dolphin Time, diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and alumni, as well as the opportunity to dive in with the president, Dr. Linda Lemura, as well as the athletic director, Bob Beretta, diving into their stories, their vision, and their mission. AD and DT with athletics director Bob Beretta and myself, Dan Tortora, aka DT, happen every first and third Wednesday of each month at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. And every second and fourth Wednesday, the Dolphin Dive, diving into the stories of student athletes, coaches, administration, future Dolphins, and so on and so forth. And we did that today with a bonus with Adam Zaczkowski. So bringing you a bonus Dolphin Dive outside of your normal scheduled broadcast. Wednesdays at 9 a.m. featuring your Moyne College Dolphins. So make sure you set that and keep it. You could find all of our Dolphin content on our newly updated over the weekend. We have massively updated the Moyne tab on wakeupcalldt.com. Check it out, and so many stories to be told there. Timeless features with so many wonderful people connected to Moyne College. You could check that out. You can also go to youtube.com for all of our Moyne content, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and make sure you click subscribe. For more information on your Dolphins, go to LeMoyneDolphins.com. The Bryant and Stratton College Bobcats of Syracuse are exclusive multimedia marketing partners with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and I am honored and privileged to work with them every single month. And the fact that they have given me the opportunity to tell their incredible stories, as I mentioned, just wonderful, wonderful stories to tell and so many great things to share, and I appreciate them so very much. The Bobcat Buzz comes to you monthly, like today, with Shawn Peake this morning, the Bryant and Stratton College of Syracuse baseball head coach, making history by competing in their first ever games in the history of the program, with this being their inaugural season. The Bobcat Buzz is found all the time on the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, and a massive addition to the BSC Syracuse tab. Go there now this morning and all throughout the day and all throughout the year. wakeupcalldt.com. Go there, then click on BSC Syracuse. That tab has been updated with a ton of Bryant and Stratton Syracuse content. You're not going to want to miss any of our conversations with student athletes and coaches. We have put up a plethora over the weekend of our specials with the Bobcats. You could check out all of our Bobcat Buzz pieces by simply going to the BSC Syracuse tab on wakeupcalldt.com, and I'm so happy to bring that entire library to you and be able to add all of that to the website over the weekend, so you can check it out today. And of course, you can go to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/wakeupcalldt, and subscribe to get all of our Bobcat Buzz content and so much more. For more information on your Bobcats, go to syracuse.bscbobcats.com. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I once again want to thank my incredible guests, Adam Zaczkowski, Moyne Dolphins men's and women's swimming and diving head coach in his first season as the head coach, going to the NE10 and having a great time there and setting records, going to the ECAC for an extended postseason, and having Justin Burns be able to be a part of the Nationals in Indy this coming weekend. So there's still more life for the swimming and diving team. It's not over yet as they continue to do fantastic things in Adam's first season as the head coach. That special Dolphin Dive brought to you by Moyne College. Tammi Reiss joining me, and her team being A10 regular season champions. Big ups to them and much appreciation. Co-champions with UMass in the regular season. And Tammi Reiss, University of Rhode Island, Rams women's basketball head coach, and a fantastic person that I love talking to and always helps me get back to being me. Gina Castelli, another person who does the same thing, an executive coach on the staff of the wonderful UAlbany Great Danes, the executive coach for player relations as well as development of the team itself. I appreciate Gina so very much and love having her on the show over the years. I can't believe it's been a decade that Gina and I have known each other, which is, I think it's been at least a decade that we've known each other, which is incredible how time flies. Gina Castelli, and being a part of that staff led by Colleen Mullen, who has won themselves a regular season championship as well in Division I women's basketball for the America East as co-champions with Vermont. I want to thank Gina for all that she does and being the incredible person on and off the air that I have come to know. And go Bills. I was just kidding with what I said before to Gina, just having a little bit of fun. I want Bills Mafia getting all mad. You know I support you and hope the best for you guys, unless you're playing Jacksonville. And Shawn Peake of the Bobcat Buzz special that we had today. All of our Bobcat Buzz specials and getting to tell the story of Shawn Peake. It's so amazing that I get to say first ever games, first ever season, first ever head coach. A lot of firsts here, and we're going to be making history through the entire season with this team and hopefully for many, 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 many years to come. God bless to Shawn Peake and the baseball team. I'm so happy that you are now officially a part of sports history in the world as the Bryant and Stratton Syracuse baseball team got in action over the weekend. So God bless to Shawn Peake and many thanks to him. You can find us on social media 24/7. Wake Up Call is on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, Twitter at Call DT, and Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT. So make sure you find us there. Go out and support and have a great time. Head to the War Memorial Arena tonight to see the sectional championships. Very excited for that, and so honored that Frank Calabufo and West Genesee have involved me in their history over the years. Done shows with me at the Wildcat a couple weeks ago. We did our most recent one, and so happy to see them back in the championship. So very much looking forward to that. Hope to see you out there tonight, and hope to see you all throughout the week. On Wednesday, we're going to be with the Liverpool girls basketball team. Head coach Mike Wheeler and his team, who have continued on in the postseason, are going to join me at Avicoli's this Wednesday, March 1st, to start off the new month in a fantastic way at Avicoli's on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool. So a lot of great stuff to come. A lot of wonderful things to be had. Women's lacrosse has their second game of the season and their home opener this Wednesday, March 1st at 4 p.m. too. So you should definitely come out there for that. A lot of great stuff coming up this week, and I appreciate your support of local athletics and local businesses always, as well as everybody in our community that helps to make it as special as it is. So God bless to all of you. I hope you have a fantastic day from the Cafe Kubal Studios, where Witty Wicks is all over with their signs and their pillows and their candles. Big shout out to Witty Wicks, 190 Township Boulevard in Camillus, New York. Head out there today and every day. They are your #1 gift shop in Central New York for 3 years straight for a reason. If you don't know, you got to get to know, and head out there today. I look forward to talking with you all tomorrow morning. And as always, God bless, no stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.